Welcome to the Non-Sequitur Show. Continual watching beyond this point may result in terminal face palming and a complete loss of wokeness. You have been warned.
Welcome, everyone. Make sure that everybody can hear. I have the audio turned on now. Before we get started, I am not alone. I have company, not in real life, but in the video here. So, anyways, let me introduce the two people that I have with me today. That's going to be talking about various topics today, including a recent, I would say, discussion. I don't even want to call it a debate, but discussion with Piers Morgan and Destiny. So I have the amazing, one and the only thoughts by Jay Brown. It's been a while.
Hey guys.
Hey,
yeah, it's been a while.
Hello. Yeah, you know what? You got to come around more often, man.
Yeah, work, school, busy.
Yeah, you don't need those things. They're just trivialities. And we also have somebody that I've been doing a lot with recently on Twitter Spaces, actually. I've been kind of doing some co-hosting for him. I'm just going to call him Steve because it's just a really great name. So, Steve.
Destiny has absolutely removed every meaning of the term manifest destiny from meaning.
Isn't that his name too? Isn't Destiny name Steve?
I hope not. He better not be one of us.
I thought it was for some reason. I don't. You know what? I don't
remember. If it is, then he's not allowed in the Council of Steves. Let's make that very clear.
Yeah, we have a little Council of Steves going together. So the people that don't know, the Council of Steves is basically Steves that do counseling on absolutely nothing, but. We'll figure out something. I thought his name was Steve. I don't know why.
Yes, it is Steven.
Oh, it's not.
It's Steven. Yeah, it's Steven. Okay, I thought so.
I'm not crazy. So, now, hang on. Is it a V or a PH? Because we don't identify with those dirty PHs.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is a V.
Damn it, he's one of us, man. Jesus. One of us. All right.
Well,
anyways, we got some housekeeping to do, but I do want to... Oh, my God. Christy Santiago, a wild mod, has appeared in the live chat. Hi, Christy Santiago. Hello.
Hey, Christy.
Hello. You are more than welcome to join us, Christy Santiago, one of my favorite people. Matter of fact, you might want to join before you even get started talking about Destiny, because I got some housekeeping to do. Something that might be actually interested in, right up your alley.
Your audio is very low, apparently, Steve. We hear you loud and clear on this end.
I'm telling you, my audio. Hang on. Audio. Whoa. Okay. Yeah. How's that?
Hey, there's Prelude. Hey, how you doing, buddy? I'm glad you found the live stream. Woo.
Is that better, Christy Santiago and Tom? I literally kicked it up quite a bit. So let me know. And thank you for that. I appreciate my mods in the live chat letting me know when my audio's off, because I do a lot of mixing here, and so I got to get.
I always say it. If I have an opportunity to toss the mods a couple of dollars, I will. I mean, they do this for free, so tips.
I shout them out. I give them props. Like Christy Santiago has a wonderful group on Facebook. If you're not familiar with Facebook, go check it out. But it's called League of Extraordinary Humans. So I'm an admin there. So, but let's do some housekeeping first before we dive into this, shall we? I'm not going to be putting it on the video because I didn't plan on talking about any of this stuff. It's happened in real time, pretty much today. So let's kind of dive into it first. You guys saw what happened in real time. That the account for Merriam-Webster had put out a tweet, and again, I didn't plan on this, so I'm not going to be able to show it and everything because it just literally started happening today, and I didn't prepare for it. I'm sorry, but go to Twitter, look up Merriam-Webster. But Merriam-Webster had asked a question, and the question was, "What word meaning would you die on a hill for?" And of course, mine was, atheism is the belief there's no God, right? But a lot of people had tweeted woman, an adult human female. Now, what do you think that Merriam-Webster did when a ton of people started going woman and adult human female? You guys saw it. Christy Santiago, what do you think in the live chat? What do you think happened when people started tweeting them that? But tell the audience what happened, because you guys saw it too.
Oh boy. So it's like posts were disappearing left and right. We couldn't explain it. It felt like the algorithm was at fault or something like that.
They were hiding replies and they were blocking people.
No.
Like blocking people for tweeting to them that a woman is an adult human female, which, by the way, is a description. It's not a prescription. Let me make that very clear. Merriam-Webster is what's called a sensu lato, which is meaning in the broad sense, sensu lato rather than sensu stricto or strictissimo. But sensu lato, synchronic. And synchronic means that it tells you how a word is being used at a current period of time rather than diachronic, which is over a period of time. So a dictionary like Merriam-Webster is I call it a sensu lato synchronic descriptive dictionary. So the phrase an adult human female describes a woman. They were bothered by this for some strange reason. Matter of fact, they blocked even Sal Grover, who is in the current lawsuit with Tickle, Sal versus Tickle. Really,
The hell
really
is
weird.
Tickle?
Tickle is the person who is suing in an Australian court Sal Grover, because Sal Grover had an application that was designed to be used for women and girls. And so there was a transgender woman who biologically was a man that wanted to be a part of it, and they told this person no.
Man,
they sued.
don't name yourself after a verb.
I think that's their last name, like literally Tickle.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And so she was taken to court over this. Now, there hasn't been a ruling on it yet, but I think that overwhelmingly people have said she's going to win because this person has no grounding whatsoever to sue for. But she was blocked. A woman who's fighting for women's rights. And it's so weird because at one time, people were like, hey, you need to be a feminist. You need to be a feminist. And me, I'm a centrist. I don't really like the labels, although I fight for women's rights. Christy Santiago I would say she's probably in the feminist category, and I adore her, absolutely adore her. And so when you have a woman that's being blocked by Merriam-Webster because she happens to have a descriptive definition of an adult human female, I was just blown away. So not only did they start blocking people, and not only did they hide replies, they deleted the tweet, which is another reason why I can't show it. Christy says they were being
the internet will forever. The internet will forever remember.
Right? Yep. Right, League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism. That's what it is. I'm sorry. So, do you want to come in, Christy? Like I said, you're more than welcome to come in, man.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So there's another thing that actually Christy Santiago might be of interest. So it's kind of ironic that she showed up because she is a woman. She's actually one of my favorite women. People know this. I have had a massive crush on Christy Santiago since the day I first met her. She's wonderful, beautiful, intelligent. She is, amazing. But here's the thing.
Viagra.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just making a joke. Hide the Viagra.
Oh, yeah. Look, man, I'm just saying, because she's a goddess. She knows this. She's a silver-haired goddess, and I mean that with the utmost respect. She's a dear friend of mine, and she likes the compliments. She's told me so. But here's the thing. I saw a tweet that somebody had said where if you like women over 30, you're sick. And I'm like, say what? Say what? I'm like, first of all, I think that women that are in their 30s, especially 35 to 40, are at their prime. And that, even women in their 50s, like Selma Hayek, I'm sorry, is the most beautiful woman in the world to me. She is, to me, when I think of a perfect woman, I just, for some reason, the archetype would be Selma Hayek. And she's 57. So for somebody to say that anybody who's attracted to somebody over 30 is sick, I don't know what the hell they think is attractive then. How is that even controversial to say? I mean, why would somebody say that?
Well, even in their later years, you've got plenty of examples. Celine Dion in her later years still had it going on. You had
Selma Hayek, as Steve has said.
You're damn right.
In fact, it makes what you have on screen find a soulmate from the soul. Yeah, that girl is not as hot as a lot of those other ones.
Dude, I'm telling you, I put a picture of Salma Hayek on Twitter, and if I put it on YouTube right now, I'd probably get demonetized. It's scorching. It's scorching. I mean, it's just her in a bikini, but she's 57, and oh my God. Christy's moving right now, so she couldn't. It's fine. Christy, you can listen. It's fine. I'm happy that you're here. It's been a while since you've dropped by, so thank you. All right, so that was odd. That was just really weird. But somebody was saying that if you like women over 30, it's sick. When I'm 54, so 54. If you do the whole, 1/2 plus 7, you come up with 34. So 35 and above is pretty good for me. People don't know this, but the girl that I kind of like for the last 2 years is 42. So I mean, I think that's appropriate dating age for me, don't you? I mean, if somebody says that's too young, then hush. I can kick you out. Whatever. It's been 2 years. So, I mean, I think 42 is more than appropriate. I think 35 and up. I mean, I don't even know why. Sure, I understand that people could look at somebody and say, okay, you're 21 and you're, in a bar and you're attractive. I get that. But would you ever want to date somebody that's 21? Hell freaking no. What would you ever talk about? They wouldn't even know what an 8-track is. What would you possibly talk about?
If they were interested in the past, if they were interested in things that was before their time, like I'm interested in a lot of the silent cartoons, a lot of black and white cartoons, because I never got to experience those because I just wasn't born yet. If you had a girl like that, then I could see that. But
I guess
very few and far between.
I mean, if you're Leonardo DiCaprio, I mean, how old is he? 50, 49 or something? His girlfriend's like 20-something or other. I mean, he's got money, so, I mean, Christy says, Salma Hayek is literally entity. Is that what she said?
Oh, I think she meant deity.
Deity.
A literal
deity.
A literal entity.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost become a deist or theist if, I mean, Salma Hayek is a goddess. I mean, I'm okay with that.
Theist, tomato.
Whatever, right? Yeah. I mean, Christy and I have the same taste like that when it comes to that. So we agree. Yeah, she's just stunning. And so I was floored by that. I was taken aback by that. And especially, again, going back to the whole feminism thing, right? Because I've never identified as a feminist. Because the radical feminists in my day from the 80s and 90s were the really out there, really radical types, right? And I wanted nothing to do with them. Although I clearly agree with women's rights, but they were on the fringe, and I didn't want to be associated with that. Now they've even gone further out. So what used to be fringe is more normal now, because you've gone such a far extreme where you have people like whoever's doing the social media account for Merriam-Webster blocking people merely for saying things like a woman, is described by an adult human female. They're triggered by this. What's going on in society where that triggers somebody to say an adult human female describes a woman? I don't get it.
I can't follow that logic either.
Yeah, so there's definitely an attack, I think, on women's rights. I think there's an attack on women's spaces. I think there's an attack having biological males in women's sports. I've been vocal about this. I've had people, get after me for it. You've had people get after you for it, Steve. But I'm going to stand by my principles. I think it's ethical. I think it's ethical to stand up and say, no.
It is ethical,
this is not
and
right.
that's the problem. Is when you tell them that when there's something they're immediately going to jump to whatever excuse they can make to try to logistify your position, to throw yet another fake term that I absolutely just asked out. It's mind-boggling the lengths that they'll go to be like, well, no, I'm right, you're wrong. You just have to accept that.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, to demonize people for standing up for women. Look, you don't have to agree with me. That's fine. But to demonize me because I'm standing up for women? How does that make sense to anybody? And for standing up for the rights of kids? Matter of fact, a judge just said in California, get this, that a 7-year-old doesn't have a right to free speech. And I'm like, no, every American has a right to free speech at any age. That has long been standing in the courts. There's no age limit on your right to free speech. None.
Yeah, we know kids say the damnedest things. We know. We can't
but if a 7-year-old wants to say something, they're allowed to say it. That's free speech. You cannot. Mm-hmm. And they didn't do anything wrong. Even it's like they just how do you punish a 7-year-old? I mean, come on.
You want me to tell you a story that's similar but not exact?
Sure.
To that situation. Okay, so here in my state, North Carolina, we had a high schooler that was banned from school for saying illegal alien for claiming
Jesus.
that.
Yep.
Yeah,
they're trying to take that out of the vernacular. They want that
right.
phrase gone.
And the question in the class was like it was an English class, and the subject matter was make a legitimate sentence. Make a legitimate sentence using the word alien. And he raised his hand. He said, "Do you mean like outer space, or do you mean illegal alien?" Like,
There's nothing wrong with that question.
There's nothing wrong with that question. He wanted to know what kind of alien you were talking about.
Right.
I still stand that. Okay, even though J.D. Vance said in his speech, illegals, said newcomers. He didn't say illegal newcomers. He didn't say legal newcomers. He said newcomers. Okay, well, fair enough. But at the same time, we know illegal alien is a proper term, because tell me anybody that defends that it is an improper term, how many immigrants coming across the southern border right now actually care about America? Tell me.
Yeah, here's the thing. These are all word usages. I mean, they have usages. They're not.
Yes.
And so you cannot police language.
This
is what Merriam-Webster is running the problem. People are criticizing them because they're trying to police language or something, because they got upset because people were giving them pushback, even though their definition isn't like completely wrong. I mean, their definition is an adult human person. Okay, great. I think it could be a little more specific, but it's not inaccurate. A woman is an adult human person. I mean, that is true, but I think it'd be a little more specific, like female, because all women are females. To be a female, to me, again, this is not prescriptivism. This is biology. To be a woman, you must be a human female. There's no exceptions on that, biologically speaking, for me. None. I'm sorry. You can never watch me again. I don't care, but that is biology, and I will stand by that. So
it is biology.
By the way, Christy says no. She did meet entities. She's out of this world. Oh, I'll fight you for her, Christy.
Oh, okay.
I'll fight you for it. Chrissy's like,
honestly,
hell no, Chrissy's like, well, no, we're share. Yeah, right. Can you imagine? Did you see that video where Selma Hayek introduced herself to somebody and the guy didn't even recognize her? He didn't even know it was Selma Hayek.
I didn't see that.
I'd have been like, oh my God, I'm dead. I was like, holy cow.
Right.
I would have been. I'm in love, because I grew up like. Real quick, I grew up like had a crush on women like Jacqueline Smith. Charlie's Angels, Wonder Woman.
Linda Carter. That's a good shout. Now that you said Charlie's Angels, I was like, yeah, okay, I know who you're talking about.
I loved. I hadn't even had a crush on the two women from ABBA when I was growing up. I used to watch the Pioneer Laserdisc of ABBA back in the early '80s, just over and over again. I mean, I was a kid. I was a teenager, man, and my hormones were raising. But the two women from ABBA were like, I was just enthralled by them. And Olivia Newton-John from Grease. She was like 26 when she did Grease, and so I probably saw it. I think Grease came out in '76 or something, and I saw it probably in the '80s. So she probably was 30. She was probably 35 at the time. Later on, but she was 26 or something when she did Grease. But oh my God, she was gorgeous in the '80s. I mean, she's gorgeous throughout her entire life, actually. But that's the kind of thing that I was attracted to, So
yeah,
78 is when it came out.
Was it 76? Like I remember Star Wars.
78.
78. Star Wars came out in May of '77, and I remember that because I went to the actual debut showing where they had it on 70 millimeter with 6-track Dolby surround sound. And even though I'm a huge Star Trek fan, and I will fight people on this, Star Trek was better than Star Wars. Sorry, guys.
How dare you?
But, we're gonna fight. But
the force is with us, okay?
But you cannot take it away that Star Wars, the way they filmed it, the way they mastered it, the way they did it in the theater on the original 70 millimeter prints, nothing ever touched that. Nothing could ever touch that.
You couldn't argue that.
It was
I
an
remember
experience.
when I was a kid during episode 2, the first time you got to see Yoda actually using his lightsaber, the whole crowd, it's just a roar of applause as soon as he ignited his lightsaber. Because Yoda was
God, I'm old.
Yeah, I remember it so clearly. Like I remember the garbage scene and the monster and the stormtroopers and the battles, and I'm like, this is awesome. I was literally 7 years old, and I remember it like it was so vivid, because of the surround sound. You can hear the X-wings going around. You can hear them flying around you. I mean, it was like when they say surround sound, they mean surround sound. You hear it coming from the back of you, hear it coming around. It was just absolutely mind-blowing. But anyways,
Damn it, Jim,
guys.
I'm a doctor, not a pilot.
I still think Star Trek was the greatest series ever because it broke all racial boundaries and broke all protocols. It was just something that had never been seen like that before, and I thought the cast absolutely was brilliant. So I think that my favorite show was Star Trek. Yeah, and that got canceled early. I think that debuted in what, 67, 68 maybe.
67.
67, and got canceled by 69 or 70 or something. So I think 69. It only lasted like 2 years, right?
3 seasons, yeah.
3 seasons or something. So it wasn't very long. It didn't get popular until after it canceled. But anyways, let's dive into the topic of the day, shall we, guys? You want to do that?
Oh,
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. So hopefully this works.
You wanted to start with something Cenk Uygur said?
Yeah. Okay. So let me do a little backstory on this. This is Piers Morgan's video from the other day. He had Cenk from the Young Turks on. Not a fan of the Young Turks. I've watched some of the stuff. Some of it's
Neither
okay,
am I.
some of it's not. But I can't say that I'm not somebody who watches them religiously by any means. But before he got to Destiny, Cenk was on, and I just wanted to point just to show this because I was really appalled by this. The reason being is because he went out of his way to misrepresent in real time what Piers Morgan was saying. And I find that to be dishonest. And it was blatant. I was listening to this on a bus, okay? Literally on a bus listening to this. I was getting my scripts, my prescriptions. And on the way back, I was trying to get this video in so I can review it today, right? And I had to play this a few times. I was like, is he really saying this? Is he really going out of his way to take what Piers is saying so out of context? So I wanted to run it by you guys and see what you guys think. And maybe am I overreacting or something? I don't know. Sound good?
It does sound good, but since we're talking about Cenk Uygur, I got to do a thing real quick.
What's that?
There we go.
What'd you do?
I cracked a beer.
Oh, okay, yeah. Heck
If
yeah,
it's
man.
Cenk Uygur, I have a feeling we're in for something.
You're more than welcome to drink. Dude, I was telling you the other day, I'm not in front of you. I was a co-host to one of Steve's Twitter spaces the other day, and he gets a lot of people sometimes. I've seen him get some really
The Silenced Banter's a great show.
Yeah, but I was high. I was super high, and I was having so much fun. I couldn't stop laughing, and you were laughing too. So I mean, it was fun, wasn't
laughing. It's a good time show.
Yeah,
it's
it
a good
was
time show.
I was like, oh my god, I hope he doesn't get mad at me because I'm just cracking jokes, and it was super funny. And I'm like, I'm high, and maybe I'm not funny, but I was like, this is funny.
Anything. I don't mind jokes at all.
You laughed. I got you laugh.
Yeah. I stand that if you can't laugh at something, you don't know what's wrong with it.
Right.
Because timing and tragedy is the basic formula for anything funny.
I agree. And I happen to like dark humor. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not going to criticize people for dark humor, but there are times, there's places and things. There's a holistic thing on dark humor. But let's dive into this. So hopefully you guys can hear it. I did check it out, so I'm going to play it, and the outside can hear it, the inside can hear it, and let's go.
He told the cops, then the cops showed up. It's not like they didn't show up. And so if you say, hey, we should investigate and find...
Oh, I mean, set the stage here. So they're talking... People are like, what are they talking about?
Hold on. What are they
talking about? So they're talking about the assassination attempt. They're talking about the sniper. They're talking about the Secret Service and things of that nature. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. That should be enough.
Okay.
Find out when was the last time they did...
They told the cops.
Yeah.
He was saying that some people told the cops. The cops showed up.
The cops were supposed to sweep the area. They were told, but nobody seemed to do anything. So it was a failure not just on the Secret Service, but a failure on the local cops as well, because I was supposed to be in their area, but everything still falls on the Secret Service. But listen to what he says, because Piers Morgan... Okay, so I'll give you 2 long different reads so we can get to Destiny. Piers Morgan is arguing that there was a failure in the system. Something was wrong, and it needs to be investigated. Mm-hmm. Cenk is arguing, oh, you're saying it's conspiracy, that this was planned, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm not saying anything of the sort. I'm just saying there's a failure there in the Secret Service and needs to be investigated. And I happen to agree with Piers Morgan on this. He's absolutely right. That doesning mean there's a conspiracy. No, none of us was going, oh, this was planned. This was, Trump's all plan all along. No, nobody in the rational mind should be saying something as stupid as that. But Cenk Unger is literally in real time here telling Piers Morgan, "Oh, you're saying that this was staged or something," and that's not what he's saying. Does that give you the read?
That gives me the TLDR. And as far as Cenk Unger is concerned, as long as it's left wing, it's good. As long as
so
it's
it doesn't
right-wing,
surprise
it's bad.
you.
He's very biased. It doesn't surprise me.
Right.
But I want to hear how stupid it's going to be. That's why I cracked the beer.
Oh,
here you
it's
go.
Stupid.
It's stupid. It's stupid.
Did the perimeter check. When did they get on that roof? I totally agree. If you say negligence, I totally agree. If you say Trump was brave in that moment, I totally agree. But if you start implying, which you definitely are, and Corey Mills definitely is, that it was planned or that it was so odd that it happened, you're saying it like the Epstein thing was odd. The Epstein thing was actually odd. So the video camera's out. That makes me think, yes, there was something planned. I'm brave enough to say that. Instead, you're implying it. Corey Mills is implying it. So just say it then.
No.
Don't tell. What does odd mean?
Okay, again, I will say to you, I am not saying anything was planned. I'm not saying there was any inside job at the Secret Service to allow this to happen. I am simply saying...
You're implying that. You get that right.
No, he's not implying.
No,
this
that's
is
not what he's fucking
what drove me
implying.
nuts. Look, there was a catastrophic failure in something in the communication breakdown. You guys are all familiar with the Swiss cheese model of failure, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what happened. It was a Swiss cheese model of failure that there was just multiple things that had to go wrong for this to occur, and they happened to all gone wrong, and it requires an investigation. I mean, even if no matter what, it requires an investigation. Piers Morgan is saying, "Hey, look, there is just some stuff that just doesn't make any sense here. We need an investigation." He never said, "Oh, this was a conspiracy. This was planned." Anything of the sort. Anything that Cenk Unger is saying. Nothing. And for him to tell people, "Oh, well, why don't you just come out and say it? Why don't you come out and say it? This was planned." Nobody said that on that show. Well, no, actually, nobody did. Not even Destiny.
Well, this is the thing. He's trying to basically play the same point that people get the Young Turks about with when it came to Kyle Rittenhouse and him, crossing state lines. How they became a meme after that.
Yeah, or the Epstein thing, which is odd. There's no question about that. Epstein,
The whole Epstein thing is odd.
So odd. Yeah, I mean, look, if he offed himself, I'm gonna go with that. Wouldn't be surprised assuming that if somebody offed him. And would it be surprising because there's just so much weirdness around that? But so TomTom wants to know what the Swiss cheese model is. Okay, so if you take a couple pieces of Swiss cheese, right, TomTom, and you slice them up, for something to go through all the Swiss cheese holes, all those holes have to line up just right. And if any hole isn't lined up right, then it stops. So the Swiss cheese model is that those holes are failures. There's something that has gone wrong. So in each slice of Swiss cheese that has a hole in it, if the holes have lined up because something went wrong, that's how you have a catastrophic failure, because it was like one catastrophic event after another. This is what they do in airlines. This is when they're talking about like aviation accidents and things of that nature. They'll say, okay, these are things that had to go wrong for this to occur, and they use what's called the Swiss cheese model. That's why they have redundancies. That's why they have systems that have backups. Like, that was the other thing I was going to talk about real quick. The fact that a single solitary line of code, a null pointer, and a system driver took down the entire infrastructure of America today. That was railroads, airplanes, computers, all done this morning.
Blue screen scare?
The blue screen of death was due to a simple code error. A null pointer in a system driver update that took down the entire infrastructure for I don't know how long it was, but that's scary.
Damn.
That's not even a Swiss cheese model. That's just one error.
Error?
Yeah, there was one code error.
The best part is it's in C++, which most programmers should at least have a basic understanding. And yet, how many people went right past that and
missed
checking for the
Yeah, I don't know how they debug that. If it's C++, it should have been caught immediately because that's the most common programming language there is just about.
I know. I have an associate's in software engineering for Java, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, how did you guys miss this?
Nobody knows. Oh, did you watch the guy from the CEO of what's the name of the company? Cloudbreak or
CrowdStrike?
He was nervous as hell. He was like, oh crap, we really screwed up. I mean, and TomTom says, well, how do you know where the holes are? Well, for example, the place where the shooter was at, that was supposed to be swept by local law enforcement. They didn't do that. That's one failure. They didn't have a direct line of sight because of a tree, supposedly, on the snipers that were overseeing the rally. That's another failure. The fact that he was walking around for an hour outside the perimeter and nobody thought to just say anything about it, outside of the people that were there, they were like, "Hey, that guy's over there, and look, he has a gun." The police didn't do anything. All these different failures led to, the event. If one failure had not happened, if some officer would have said, "Why is this guy climbing up a ladder with a rifle? Why shouldn't we go look into this?" But they didn't do it. Right, so that's the Swiss cheese. Yeah, security failed miserably. I'm just telling you that I'm sorry, but the head of the Secret Service, she stepped down, but she would have been fired. There's no way you can get around that. No way. So.
Yeah, and I mean, it's three things quick before we continue with this. One, she was actually chased out of the RNC. She was chased out of the RNC, and a lot of the Republicans were saying, "Yeah, we'll keep you hired for $1 on your salary."
They're going to lower her salary to $1. Now, there is something coming out today about another sniper. There is something that might be to that, but right now I think it's unverified. But there might have been more than one. Yeah.
Oh, the second gunman on the grassy knoll.
Yeah, the ghost grassy knoll.
After the first guy got taken out, that was just deterrent for the other one. If that is the case, then they know to be on the watch for that. The other thing I wanted to mention was the support for the victims of the attempted assassination. $6.4 million now.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing. And the third thing I wanted to say, your pause game is excellent. Just look at Chink's stupid mug on the screen right now.
Pierce Morgan looks like he's ready to cast a spell, like like a cantrip in D&D or something, like pause. Stop. But we'll get to Destiny here in a second, guys. That's what you guys are here for in a second. Hang on.
Right?
Here's what I'm implying.
Here's what I'm implying. The viewer's going to think.
Here's what I'm implying. There was such a catastrophically negligent failure here by the Secret Service. I completely understand why so many people are utterly bemused that this could ever have been allowed to happen. The idea you have a perfect vantage point over Donald Trump from 150 meters at a public rally, given how divisive and polarizing he is, given how vehemently some people hate him, and given the threats of violence he's had on many, many occasions, the idea that roof remained unmanned by Secret Service is to me very bloody odd.
How is he not? How is he wrong? He's absolutely right. It's bloody odd.
He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. And this is where Chink's points always just go south. I know that Piers Morgan for the longest of that part of the clip was speaking, but before that we heard, "Am I denying this? No, I'm denying this. Not." Well, you are denying that that the shooter. You are denying that the shooter had a vantage point. That's one thing that Chink does not say. It's like, "Oh, well, the shooter was a Republican, so he should have." No, he was still voting Democrat, even if he had registered as a Republican. That doesn't work as an argument. What Pierce is saying here makes a lot of sense. There should have been somebody on that roof, especially with a big enough target like Donald Trump is.
100%. 100%. That goes without saying.
As far as I've seen TYT actually say this. The TYT claimed that the bullet should have hit Trump. It was and when this first came out, they were like, "Oh, he missed. He missed." And that was the part. The thing I hate about the "he missed" thing, you are ignoring where the bullets kept going, and that is largely Chink's position throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think three people were struck. One was killed. So he didn't
Corey Compatori was killed, and we heard from Trump directly at the RNC that the other two that were shot, they're going to make a full recovery. That's good news.
Yeah, and somebody points out in my audience the slope. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm okay. Look, I'm not a sniper. Okay, have I fired weapons? Yes, I'm ex-military. Jay is ex-military. We both had to learn how to fire weapons in the military. It's part of our training. Okay. But I can tell you right now, nobody's going to give a shit about a 5-degree slope or a 10-degree slope or a 20-degree slope. I mean, even a 45-degree slope, nobody's going to give a shit. Okay, they can compensate for these things, I assure you. Okay, so that was one of the dumbest things that I think the Secret Service could have said. Oh, we were concerned about the slope. Bullshit.
They could have just
absolutely
entirely blamed it on the police, and then they would have gone to court. Simple as that.
Sad thing is, Steve, I think we could have actually made the shot.
Dude, a child. Well, of course, yeah, I would have never advocated for them, but dude, let me put it this way, okay? I've these types of okay. So a Remington 223 at 150 meters is pretty much point blank. I mean, you're looking at something about the size of maybe a little less than a basketball. Okay, you're even if you were the drop, even with wind speed, even with your dope book and all this other stuff, you're not going to miss. I mean, thank God that this idiot was. I don't know if he was trying to do something spectacular by going through a headshot or not, but if he would have gone for a body shot, it would have been point blank range.
Yeah, he was going for a headshot because he wanted to, and I think one person covering it, quote, wanted Trump's brains to be splattered all over live television.
It had to be because at 150 meters, that's nothing. One of those guns is accurate to probably 2,000 meters. You can drop somebody. 2,000 meters, you can drop somebody. This was 150 meters. That's nothing. That's literally nothing.
I'm going to refer to this as Trump's testimony because he spoke on this at the RNC when he accepted the nomination for president of the United States at the RNC. The way he described it, it wasn't just him looking left. He was looking left at an info card describing, and he was about to get into detail about immigration. And because he turned his head to look at that, the bullet whizzed by, hit him in the ear, and then when he turned his head again to feel his ear, the next bullet whizzed by.
Yeah, it was. So, like I said, I don't believe in God,
he was
but
looking
I mean,
at an info card.
For somebody to say divine intervention, I can see why, because it was just. I mean, and as Christy points out, yeah, the snipers were on a sloped roof, and as Dave Rubin noted, and he says, I have people on my roof working right now. They wear special shoes. Yeah, look, they compensate for this,
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you right now, anybody who's ever fired a rifle can tell you right now that that's not a far distance. I mean, I don't remember what we had to shoot in the military, but we had to qualify on rifle. We had 9mm. Do you remember what you fired, Jay? I think ours
9mm. 9mm, the 12 gauge shotgun, an M14, and an M16 while I was in.
I didn't have the shotgun, although I've done skeet shooting. I actually like skeet shooting, but yeah. So I
miss going to the range actually.
Oh, me too. I used to go with the off-duty sheriff. We used to go to the range, like I said before. So yeah, this was just like, what's it was so amazing is even though that the Secret Service and the local police has such catastrophic failures in a Swiss cheese model, Trump, for some amazing reason, was able to miraculously avoid assassination and then stand up and put his fist in the air in the most opportune photo op of all time. I got to give the guy props for it. Even Cenk gave him props for that. He was like giving him props because we all know that most of us, if we take fire, we're going to be scared. We're going to be like, he was brave. I don't care what you say about Trump. He was either super brave or he didn't understand really what was going on, and he was like just wanted to let people know that he was okay, and it turned out to be the probably the greatest political moment of his life that sealed his presidency because he's going to win just off that. I'm telling you right now, he's going to win just off that.
Yes, yeah. And it's. I mean, also the things leading up to when the bullet whizzed by. Like I said, he looked at an info card.
Yeah.
If he kept his face looking forward, there's a good chance he would have been shot in the back of the head.
Absolutely. And look, and I'm telling you right here now, I am not a Trump fan. Christy Santiago is not a Trump fan. Neither one of us like Trump. I think he's a narcissistic, just very dishonest.
I hate all politicians.
Yeah, but he's so. I mean, look how many times he lied in his first presidency. He's just. I don't like the person. Okay, but I think that. Does anybody deserve to be assassinated? Hell no. Not even remotely. First of all, that undermines the very fabric of our democracy, which we'll get into here because Piers Morgan and Destiny start talking about that, which we're trying to get to here. But
yep. I was going to say, you need to play the last little bit of the Chink spot too, though, just to show how an age she gets.
So you are implying that there is a chance that it was planned?
No.
Oh, no.
That's not what he said, you dumbass.
Oh, my God.
That's not what he said.
That's literally what you just said.
Literally.
Okay, how is that literally what he just said? Explain
That
this
is
to
not
me.
literally what he just said. He said he is not surprised that anybody has any sort of inkling that it could have been planned on either the Secret Service or the police front.
Right.
He didn't say. He said that coming to that conclusion could be logical given certain steps. He said that he didn't say that he was thinking that way.
That's why this
he said
blew
it's
me away.
possible for someone to think that way.
I had to listen just a few times because he's like, you literally just said that. I'm like, oh my God, did he really just say this or something? I'm like, am I being gaslighted or something? He did not say that.
He didn't.
Listen.
What I'm doing is implying that there's something we don't know about what's happened here, and we need some
Okay, then
answers.
what would it be?
We need some answers. I have no idea. I don't know.
You're even
Let me go to
asking
some of the
what
other
would be-
panelists
this
because
is what
we've
Jake does,
spent a lot of
okay?
energy on this. I think, Jake, you have to go, so I appreciate you.
Let me get to the Destiny part.
well,
But you guys
I
agree with me
appreciate
that was just
The reason they didn't have it.
I want to go.
If you are interested in getting into tech, we
Oh
are.
yeah, we love ads. But this is the thing that Cenk does. He'll constantly push questions in a sort of vehement way that gets the other person to talk, and then try to pick at one little thing that they said and say, "Oh, well, this is what you meant."
Yeah, I don't like that kind of style. That's just not a style that I'm ever
No,
gonna be
it's
interested
dumb. It's lying.
All right,
It's also the same tactic Destiny uses.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, and let me just put this on record. Destiny has been on this channel before. We have talked.
Yeah, we've talked about him.
I never liked his debate style, but I never held anything against him personally until now. And there's reasons for that, which we'll get into. I found his behavior to be morally egregious. The fact that he was going after an American hero, I just cannot imagine. The complete lack of ethics and the complete lack of sympathy that he had. But prior to that, I did a review with you, Steve.
Yep.
And I was giving him principal charity. I was steelman.
You were trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, and that's one thing that we're not doing anymore is giving people the benefit of the doubt. Look what happened to Tenacious D, which we went over on my show about Kyle Gass wishing on his birthday cake that they don't miss Trump the next time. It was Kyle Gass, and what did Jack Black do immediately? Apologize for his bandmate doing that. He was blindsided, and you know what? I forgive you, Jack Black. I forgive Tenacious D, and I forgive Kyle Gass, who's after the fact actually apologized for even saying that on stage. I apologize for Tenacious D, not because I like their music, not because not because it was shown all over the internet and people were going crazy about it. I apologize it because humanity is starting to suffer thanks to politics getting in the way of that.
I spot on agree with you. Agree with you. Yeah, and I like Tenacious D. And I do accept their apology, but Destiny, no, I don't. Well, he wouldn't apologize anyways. He hasn't. But let's listen to this.
Destiny thinks he's right.
Oh yeah. No, his whataboutism and tu quoque fallacy is off the chart. So let's dive into this and see what Destiny has to say here. But like I said, I want to make it like I said. I initially didn't have anything against the guy. He has been a guest on the show. I never really cared for his debate style because he just talks over people. He is a contrarian. I just never found him to be somebody worth listening to in debates. But apparently, a lot of people do. So whatever. But this is what he has to say with Piers Morgan.
As you know, of a massive online response to what you were saying. And I want to go through what you said, and I want to talk to you about this in a hopefully in a calm manner to try and understand what you were thinking.
You see that smirk? Yeah, exactly. He's like, he's not even taking it seriously.
And the blatant smile because he knows exactly what he's going to be asked about.
Yep, exactly. And, Piers Morgan, I don't agree with him on a lot of things. I mean, I know he's very kind of anti-gun and everything. But I always thought he was being fair on things. I did think Piers Morgan does try to be fair. I'll give him that
Piers
props.
Morgan is fair, and I'm with you on that. I don't agree with everything Piers Morgan believes. But Piers, I have to give him credit. He focuses on the facts. He puts people he puts people to the fire. And he says, is this right? Is this true? Is this what you did? And if this is what you did, let's talk about the context of it rather than just what you said, because you will turn things to make yourself look better. I want to know what the context is behind you saying that so we know what you meant.
I love that. That's how it should be done. And by the way, fun fact, Piers Morgan retweeted one of my tweets. How cool is that?
He's so popular now.
So I know, right? William Shatner did it once too with me. Just to note, Christy Santiago, she says Destiny could ruin a stripper pole for me for many years. Stripper poles are too good for him. Christy, first of all, if you never use a stripper pole that Destiny uses ever, ever, but I didn't know that you had a stripper pole. But so you know what? I'm not going to ask her for evidence of that because she probably would send it, and I would be like, oh God, I feel creepy. Okay.
So on Saturday evening, hours after the shooting, you said, let me clarify, when I say conflicted, what I mean is I lean towards seeing it as a natural extension of the thing Trump and the MAGA kids support. So I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt enough to chastise people celebrating it. You couldn't find it in your heart to chastise people for celebrating the near assassination of a man who was president of the United States and maybe again?
Absolutely not. Conservatives have completely bled that well dry, and the idea that
pause it. Notice how quickly the C word came out of his fucking mouth.
Yeah, it was all it's instant whataboutism. Well, I'm not gonna address the question.
Instant.
I'm
Well,
the
conservatives. Okay, near assassination. Could you go back 20 seconds real quick? I want to point something out really, really particularly. If you just hit J on your keyboard twice, that goes back 10 seconds. There we go.
I never knew that. Thank you.
Attempt enough to chastise people celebrating it. You couldn't find it in your heart to chastise people for celebrating the near assassination of a man who was president of the United States and maybe again?
Right there.
Absolutely not.
Said
Conservatives have
near
completely
assassination. He said the near assassination, as in you can't bother to chastise people who celebrate the near assassination. It wasn't a full-on assassination. Otherwise he'd be like, no, because it was a good thing that Trump died.
Yeah,
because it was a near assassination. That's what Destiny and a lot of people that we're seeing the true colors of all over the internet have a big problem with. It was a near assassination. Meanwhile, these people don't take into account that bullets keep traveling.
Yeah, you're so spot on. And the fact that CNN and the Washington Post couldn't even use that word, it's just ridiculous. So yeah, he's smirking. He's automatically going to turn it back on conservatives, and
of course he is.
Yeah. So listen.
Bled that well dry, and the idea that they, after engaging in the most divisive and most extreme rhetoric that this country has seen in recent history, that they would come on and beg for sympathy, that it's escalated into some kind of violent confrontation, is absolutely insane. Even the idea right now of saying, well, if you call somebody a Nazi for so long, it's, what do you expect people to do? I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh call Obama a communist every.
Okay, here's a fun fact. I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh. I happen to even like Rush Limbaugh's first book, The Way Things Ought to Be. And then he wrote another book called See, I Told You So. I read both of them, believe it or not. I actually watched Rush Limbaugh. So I grew up watching, and he had a lot of things that I actually liked him saying, but then he turned into this 180. I'm telling you, a lot of people think they knew Rush Limbaugh because they listened to his show later on in the years, but I listened to him on the early years when he was on UHF channels, and it was just after the time he used to do a sports commentary, and he was nowhere near as radicalized as he was later in his life, and he had a lot of interesting things to say, especially if you read his first book. But calling somebody a communist is not the same thing as equating a person to literally Hitler, especially in the political climate that we're in, where you have these psychotic people that think, oh, if this person is going to be the next Hitler, I have some kind of moral duty to prevent that from happening. That's the mindset of some of these delusional people.
And you can totally go down a logical, straight path. Like, okay, so think about the words that are being used online on other people, especially people on the right wing. Okay, you got Nazi. Okay, fair enough. Bigot. Okay, that's a good one too. Racist, sexist. Okay, what about? Okay, racist, sexist. There's a little something there. What do you have as far as? Okay, you have transphobe and homophobe. I don't see a single Bible phobe. I don't see a single Biden phobe. I don't see a single phobe that is used on the left wing from the right wing. That is entirely a left wing talking point, and that is entirely used one way. So for him to say, oh, well, conservatives are now calling it, I'm sorry, you guys had it this way for about 12 to 13 years, and you can't take a little bit of criticism now that we have some facts? Gotta hell.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Christy, your stripper name is Silver Fox, I thought. Oh, was I supposed to give that away? Yeah. So if you ever hear, like Silver Fox, starring tonight, that's Christy Santiago's stage name. Yeah, I wasn't supposed to tell anybody, but whatever.
single day he was on the radio. You've got conservatives that talk about how the mRNA vaccines were ways to sneak microchips into us. You've got COVID lockdowns that were done because the government's trying to take all your freedom away. They won't acknowledge anything that happened on January 6th.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. January 6th. A lot of people did condemn that from the right and from the left. And whether you want to call it an insurrection or not, because insurrection can be a legal term, I don't even care at this point. Whether you call it insurrection, you don't call it doesn't matter. What happened is there was definitely rioting going on. There was vandalism, and one person lost their life during that. Do I think Trump has some culpability for it? Yes, but maybe not directly. But I mean, he could have done more to prevent it. I think I really do. But whether you call that out or not, it has no impact. And I'm going to make it very clear. It has absolutely zero impact on anything that happened just a few days ago for this attempted assassination. They're not even remotely related, nor should they be even mentioned together, because we're talking about an event that was an attack on democracy, and a firefighter, a hero who was trying to protect his family and his daughter on American soil, died at the hands of a domestic terrorist with mental issues. There is no comparison here. For Destiny to even try to do this two-quoquatism, I find to be so morally egregious, and I'm disgusted by it.
Yeah, it's absolutely that's absolutely true, and that's exactly what so you hear this not only from Destiny. This is not a strange thing. You hear this from Destiny. You hear this from Hassan. You hear this from pretty much anybody fully left-wing or communist or socialist or whatever, left-wing talker who is also a content creator online, whether they stream on Twitch, stream on Kick, which Destiny got kicked off of, ironically. And you hear it and you're like, what does that have to do with the main story?
Right.
It doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, he got kicked off Twitch a long time ago. He also got kicked off Kick, which I don't know how anybody does that. I've never heard of anybody getting kicked off Kick. That takes talent.
Yeah. It's like I said in my rant. I don't know the TOS about Kick, but I do know the TOS about X, and he was glorifying violence. He's lucky he got demonetized on X, because he could have just as
easily. Is that temporary though? I heard it might have only been a 2-week temporary ban. I don't know.
It was a 2-week. It was only a 2-week demonetization. That's a shame, and I mean, with being against Elon, and Elon runs the freaking site, it's not a wonder that. I mean, we could probably see longer if he keeps going with this crap.
Yeah. Well, he's not stopping. I mean, he's doubling, tripling, quadrupling down, so it's possible. But like I said, I was just, and I was one of the first people out there starting condemning this, and I got shat on for it.
You're gonna make me get another beer. That's right.
I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, how is this polarizing? This is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
This is a no-brainer.
What I heard.
What
I had heard about the Kick thing is he got flagged for hate speech and potential threats, which are part of their terms of service under 1.4 service.
I agree. But Kick, I'm telling you, Kick is not known for kicking people off.
I know.
They have a pretty loose policy.
But they're also trying to get more financial backing, so they're probably going to be cracking down on things now, especially after Destiny.
I think you're right. I definitely think you're right. But like I said, I was surprised that more people weren't calling out, because I was leading that charge, and because you and I, Steve, we made that video and we were like, hey, we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. We're going to steelman his arguments. Boy, did he just you thought I was like civil as can be, and I was like, Destiny, because
you were trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I was like, dude, come on, man, you need to think about what you're doing here, man. You really do. He didn't care. I'm sure he watched it. I think he was streaming us at some point.
Say that the election was stolen and that your country is being taken from you. Like, I don't think anybody should be killed. I don't think anybody should go out and kill anybody. But when you engage in this type of
he outright lies there. We're going to get to that after, Steve, but I'm glad you stopped it. I'm glad you had me stop it there, because you're exactly right that he is not being honest with Piers Morgan here, because there's older footage that will show of him wanting people to be harmed. And so his actions here and his what he's saying to Piers is not reflecting of his true, honest views.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so we'll show that, but yeah, he's not being honest here.
Rhetoric, and when you turn the temperature up over and over and over and over again, there is absolutely no room for you to be shocked or surprised. And there certainly isn't room for you to ask for sympathy.
But Destiny, you say you don't want anybody killed. And yet you say, I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt to chastise people celebrating it. It's people celebrating the near assassination of Donald Trump. If you can't find it in you to chastise people who do that, aren't you just as despicable as the people that you've just spent the last 2 minutes haranguing?
Yes.
No, because they've led the way. This is
No, Destiny.
Oh God, I hate the fact that
all.
he's saying this.
Because these people led the way. I hate people like this. I hate people like I constantly. And if the shooter was a Republican, okay, I constantly say 100% of a population is not infallible. There are always going to be bad eggs in that population. And if he really was a Republican, guess what? He was a bad egg Republican.
Or from what I understand, they have an open primaries there, so he might have, been a Republican, but he could still vote.
But to people like Destiny, if you can corral people into neat little sockets of society, you can say, oh, well, these people are the bad ones. These people are the good ones. It doesn't work like that.
And I'm a centrist. I call out both sides. Look, I'm not a fan of Biden or Trump. I think both of them are grossly incompetent. I agree. I want fresh people in there, and I'll tell you, I do think that Biden is probably going to step down sometime next week. This is just my opinion. I think he will probably step down, or at least soon. I think they're prepping for this with the whole, Big C.
And the DNC, probably.
Yeah, well, and the reason here is, okay, so as the way I understand it, then we'll get back to Destiny real quick. If he's nominated by the DNC, then his only really choice is to give it to Harris, and Harris will probably pick Shapiro, and they won't stand a bad chance in hell. It has nothing to do with her being a woman or anything like that. It's just that Harris is not a likable person. She's not somebody who's going to beat Trump. It's not going to happen, period. They know this. So they're screwed 6 ways a Sunday. So they have to get him to step down before the nomination. If they get him to step down before the nomination, then there's 3,600 delegates from the Democratic Party that have kind of a free range to vote for whoever they want, and then whoever gets the majority wins. If somebody doesn't get the majority, then they have 700 superdelegates that can then cast their vote, which is probably what's going to happen, because I don't think they want to wait to the Democratic convention in August, because that's just pushing too close to November. And, for them, think about it. Let me ask you guys, how are they going to gain so much momentum and traction when Trump is so far ahead of them now if they decide to get a brand new ticket? How would they ever be able to manage that?
Here's the thing. They can't. It's a war of attrition. It's a war of attrition, Steve. Every single thing that the Democratic Party has tried to do to make Trump look like a bad guy has blown up in their face and made Trump's numbers go up.
Exactly.
They tried it with the two impeachment inquiries. They tried it with the indictments. They tried it with the with not the most recent shooting. Before that, with the 34 counts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now after the counts, Tucker Carlson was absolutely right 6 months before the assassination attempt. Assassination was the only way that Trump could possibly lose.
And it just solidified his win. And they're making even worse. I mean, the ticket they would need. I mean, what would be the perfect ticket? It would be like, I'm trying to think of who would be the perfect ticket for the Democrats, and I got nothing. I mean, Hulk Hogan and Christy Santiago. There you go. She could be a good VP. I'd vote for Christy Santiago. I would, absolutely. I'm not even joking. But I don't know who they would. I mean, like,
at this point, they just have to. They have to play the star power thing and just get a celebrity.
Ooh, I mean, they take Gavin Newsom. I mean, we want him out of California because he would have to move out of California because you can't have a president and vice president from the same state. He has to actually move. And I'm telling you right now, Newsom is one of the most worst governors for the state that I've ever seen in my life.
He's getting sued over the quote he needs to get sued for everything. Transgender legislation right now.
I live in California, and I used to love this state. I really did. I'm mortified when I see the things that are going on in the state. It is horrific. But it's not just California. Every single solitary major populous city is just gone to ruin. Chicago, Denver, Philadelphia, Seattle, probably Houston. There's even in Canada, the cities are going. Somebody just messaged something the other day, or actually this morning, it was on Vancouver, how bad it was. They're not trying to fix anything, and I don't understand why. They're letting cities being taken over, and nobody wants to fix anything. So the only way somebody could win if they come in and say, look, we're going to get rid of this stuff in these cities. We're going to fix the homelessness problem, because I think that's one of the major issues. We're going to fix poverty. We're going to fix drug use. We're going to fix these things. Until somebody does, it doesn't matter who you vote in. They're all incompetent, in my opinion.
Shamshi Adad in the chat. Steve, have you ever seen Destiny do philosophy debates? His grasp of philosophy is absolute shit. I have, and every single time someone tried to question him on philosophy, he immediately went back to politics.
No, I've seen some of those. He goes back to politics, but he also personally insults people, and he tries to talk over them. He tries to
always
ad
hominem.
Mm-hmm. You're wrong because you're an idiot. You're wrong because you're a conservative. And he does a lot of bird dogging, which is a technique that people will use where you try to interrupt your opponent during the middle of a sentence, so it gets them off their train of thought and takes them down rabbit holes. He does a lot of these really, what I think, disgusting debate tactics. So I've never been a fan of his debate style because he's just, he doesn't talk about the topics right. And like you said, when he talked about philosophy, yeah, he's way out there. I've never heard him talk about philosophy coherently. He certainly doesn't know anything about anything.
I think you have to have some sort of, in order to argue philosophy, you have to have some sort of conscience. And honestly, I don't think Destiny has a good conscience.
If you're going to talk about moral theory and ethics, you probably want to have some. You probably want to be able to explain your own moral theory. You know,
some reason why you're correct for the good of everybody.
Jay, do you want to weigh in before I continue?
No, you guys covered it pretty good.
Okay, we're not ignoring you, man. You're just quiet.
I know.
We're not trying to talk over you, buddy.
This is the environment that they've created.
So you think behaving like the people you think are despicable is the correct course of action?
Not about behaving like the people who are despicable would be leading that type of rhetoric. It would be,
which he does and has and continues to have. He was the one out there calling, Trump Hitler. He was the one that was calling for genocide of conservatives, which we'll get to. How is that not rhetoric? And I mean like negative rhetoric. Rhetoric is actually can be a good thing. Rhetoric just means
rhetoric can totally be a good thing.
Right? Rhetoric is actually communication. People that you take. I took a course literally in effective rhetoric, but that's not what he does. Negative rhetoric is when you are just putting things out there that are not contributing to the dialogue, not helping anything. It's just to cause issues. And he was full of that. He's been full of it.
Remember how I told you that politics is basically make the other person look worse? I think Destiny should be a politician.
Yeah, but I get that's part of politics, but it should be like 90% stand in your own platform, 10% sure go after the other person. But he's negative. You know what's funny is negative adverts do work. They do work, but they don't have they don't have the same power as a strong political position. But they do work.
Fair enough.
That's why they use them. And I've seen some pretty horrific political adverts in my life when even back in the Reagan days they were going back and forth. Even Obama. But I think Obama took a lot of the high road. I do. I think Obama's videos were.
I will never forget when Obama had that. I don't think it was a State of the Union dinner, but it was the dinner where Trump's main problem with Obama was that he had to release his birth certificate.
Yeah, saying
that he was, and the first thing he decided to show was the animation from the beginning of the Lion King movie. And Rafiki's holding up.
You know what? If he would run again, he would win. I'm telling you right here now. I wasn't a huge fan of Obama because I don't really know what he was trying to accomplish, but he was a good statesman. The guy was a brilliant orator.
Right.
The speeches and everything. The man was an excellent statesperson. I have the most respect for Obama for that. But if he could run again, he would probably win. He would be the Democrats' savior at this point.
Do you really think like Obama coming back would be the play?
He obviously can't because you can only serve 2 terms with 2 years extra for 10 years max, according to the Constitution.
And he did serve 2 terms.
He did terms, right? So the longest you could serve as a president is actually 10 years, which is 2 terms plus 2. For example, if like in the middle of a term or something like that. So he couldn't actually come back. But I'm just saying hypothetically, if he could, Christy says, why would he not double down or triple down? He got to go on Piers Morgan, and now he's the topic of the Non-Sequitur Show. Mission accomplished. Yes. Yeah.
Well, maybe his husband Michelle could do it.
We don't have.
I know that's a bit of a racy joke.
That is it's so funny. That's one of the weird conspiracy stories. I don't believe obviously that, but it is one of the weirder conspiracy theories.
There are some conspiracy theories that are like, are you out of your fucking mind?
And but when you look into it, it's all just nonsense.
Yeah.
But Yeah, we don't have the full Piers Morgan show, but you know what? We still got good quality content here, and if 5 people listen or 100 people listen, you know what? You're still listening.
I appreciate you being here.
And I got 2 great co-hosts right now, so
smash the like button.
Smash that like button.
Be denying every single bad thing. How many times as a liberal? How many times as a liberal have you been on a show?
Not you. The woman.
I think she kind of. Well, I don't know. Did she interject?
She interjected.
Well, she attempted to get in there. But notice how he just kept on talking.
Right, he talks over people.
His opinion was what matters.
I love her facial expression too because she's confident, right? I don't know if you guys followed Jose. What's his name? The body language guy. What's his name? He's a body language guy, and he analyzes a lot of stuff, and I love watching his stuff. And so I've been really more paying attention to body language and stuff like that. She's confident. She's like, hey, I'm going to put you in place right now. And he's just like reaching out. He's like, nope, stop. Nope, you're not. I'm going to talk over you.
Right.
You're talking about Jesus Enrique Rosas?
Jesus Enrique Rosas, the body language guy. I love his stuff. He is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Glad you're here, dude.
So,
I had no idea who he was talking about.
He's on Twitter. I think he follows me on. Did he follow me on Twitter? I don't remember. I know he's talked to me a few times on Twitter, but yeah.
Well, I know you follow him. So does Ricardo Law. So.
Did you say Ricardo Law?
Yeah, Ricardo Law follows him too.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, he's. I told people I was never a fan of that guy. He asked me some stuff years ago, and he didn't take me seriously. And I'm like, piss off! Don't do that to me. Don't come to me and ask me stuff, and then when I tell you, you just blow it off like you weren't asking sincere things. So I never liked that guy. Yeah. Anyways, let's continue.
General, but like a liberal been on a show and you've been forced to disavow all of the BLM riots, disavow all of the violence and blah, blah, blah. And then you talk to conservatives about it.
Disavowing violence,
that was
that's it.
Yeah, right. Disavowing violence. Hey, that's a good thing. Yes.
I'd love to ask him how many fires were lit during J6? Okay, how many fires were lit during the BLM riots? Well, there's a big difference.
Well, they were mostly peaceful.
They were mostly peaceful.
I don't remember any fires during January 6th, was there?
There wasn't. That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Yeah, I don't think there was.
Nobody lit the White House on fire. Nobody lit a single.
Leeds was on fire the other day.
Yeah.
But
yeah. January 6th. Oh, like conservatives disavow January 6th?
What does that matter?
First off, there's an entire cultural machine that has lied. There is an entire cultural.
That's what he does. That's what he does. He does. Oh, check it out. You're changing your opinion. You're saying now listen because I got you and I got you. Ha 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 ha. I'm right.
Right.
Shut up, Destiny. You're not fucking right.
And you can look to see the difference between them. One of them is I mean, what's it? God dang it. What's his name? Blue suit. God dang it.
Rubin.
Rubin. Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Rubin.
Dave Rubin. I don't know how I forgot that. Sorry, Dave Rubin.
Very professional.
Yeah. But I love how he is. He's literally like, hey, trying to explain something, and Destiny is just mocking him. Look at the difference between how sincere Dave Rubin is trying to be, because he's trying to let people know this is a very serious topic. There was just a presidential attempted assassination where an American hero died, and Destiny is using this for clicks and views. Basically, he's using this because he's on Piers Morgan because of his views here. I mean, it clearly, as Christy said, it worked.
That's the difference between Dave Rubin and Destiny, though, is the fact that Dave Rubin was a liberal, got his ideology checked by somebody that could come with facts, and made him change his position.
I love that. I
respect that. Do I think that he is truly a right winger? No, I think he's more of a centrist than anything.
I've listened to him, and he comes across as moderate.
But Destiny could never handle that gut check that Rubin handled.
I didn't forget the guy's name. I just had a brain fart. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't usually do a lot of political commentary. I do watch all these people, though, believe it or not. But I don't. You guys know me. Politics is not my jam. But some things are just so outrageous, like Destiny's bullshit. I am sorry, but I'm not going to, in good conscience, if I have a platform to speak on, not call that out.
This isn't doing it the right way. Yeah, this isn't politics, though. This is just basic human decency.
I agree.
Yep. And that's the problem, is Destiny's trying to pass this off as if it's a political issue when it's not. Everybody else that's on the panel, even Chink, was trying to pass off as this is basic human decency. Where Chink got it wrong is he tried to politically backdoor Piers. That's the only thing that.
Yeah,
Chink
he
did.
shouldn't have done that. He screwed up that because that ruined his entire kind of
Well, that
being
and
on
that
the show,
and
it just kind of his credibility kind of got shot there.
that and also the guy who came in and popped his head on Chink's camera. That was pretty funny.
That was funny. Well, yeah, but he's a comedian, right?
hilarious.
I mean, that guy is a he's known for that.
Yeah.
He is a comedian. He got kicked out of the RNC for that.
Worth
but
it. Worth it.
It was
worth
funny.
it.
Yep.
That was
funny.
Yeah, but he's known for those. He's been at these conventions trolling before. That's what he's known for. But yeah, you're right. Since this is an ethical issue, it falls under philosophy, which is kind of my jam. And since I do a little bit of moral theory, yeah, I agree with you. But Destiny tries to talk about moral theory. I've heard him talk once or twice on it. And I'm like, what the hell are you even talking about, man? I don't think he knows what the hell he's talking about on moral theory. But maybe if you find me a clip on Destiny talking about moral theory, especially moral non-cognitivism or moral cognitivism or objectivism or anything like that, send it to me. I would be interested in it.
Yeah,
because
definitely
I don't know
send
what
it
his
to him.
framework is. Because people know my
Send it to
framework.
him.
I'm very clear on my moral ethics. I tend to moral realism. I appreciate things like value pluralism. I tend to moral universalism. I am a moral cognitivist. And I like virtue ethics. And so I've actually spent time reading about these things to formulate a coherent moral framework. I don't know if Destiny has bothered to do that.
No, he's too busy. He's too busy live streaming games and talking about how conservatives need to die.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm a non-believer, so when people say, "Oh, non-believers can't have morality without God," yeah, piss off. Another thing, real quick. So tomorrow, I was going to relive this in the end, but since we're doing it right now, and I'll probably forget. Tomorrow, Dr. Braxton Hunter from Trinity Radio is putting out a video on Jacqueline Glenn, because I put a video on Jacqueline Glenn the other day because I called her out because she's just lying to her audience at this point. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it anymore. She's absolutely lying to her audience, and I'm sick of it because she has a history of plagiarism. She has a history of not getting her facts straight, and I can show that she doesn't have her facts straight. So I challenged her to a debate. Well, Dr. Braxton Hunter is doing a video on her 10 myths about atheism, and he is actually including clips from my video and talking about my paper, which he thoroughly agrees with. Matter of fact, it was Dr. Pritchard from Trinity Radio that found a minor error in my paper, just a wording error, and I corrected it. So I know that they understand my work. It's not a matter of, they disagree with you. I mean, these guys are theists, the Christians. They're like, oh, they disagree with you because they're Christians. No, he understood my work. He understood my paper well enough that he found a error in it after it's been out for a year when some people didn't. And so that tells me something, right? That tells me he's more than competent to understand my paper. And I fixed it. It was a simple thing, and I fixed it really easy. But Dr. Braxton Hunter loves my arguments. He thinks my papers are amazing. And so he is talking about that tomorrow, and he's like, look, Jacqueline Glenn, I will host you and Steve on my show if you guys want to have a debate. So anybody who knows Jacqueline Glenn.
I want to hear that debate.
Oh, that'd be glorious. I would just say right now,
I'm
going to be the debate me, bro. I will destroy her. She wouldn't even have a chance. It'd be like a second grader going against a math professor. It's just like it's on calculus or something. She has no idea what she's talking about when it comes to atheism. Nothing. She says is correct. I think.
I don't think I could I can hold my own in an argument, sure, but I don't think I can debate because the second someone says something stupid on the other side, I'm just going to cross my arms, smile, and say, "Really?"
I've been that way for a while, but it's just
Tell
like,
me
Jacqueline,
more.
come on. You have been so wrong for so long. And I think it was on Dave Rubin's show, if I'm not mistaken. She went on and spewed a bunch of nonsense. And I even tagged Dave Rubin years ago, and I said, hey, you had Jacqueline on. Why don't you have, like, me? I don't want to go on his show. But I was like, why don't you listen to the people that maybe know what they're talking about? And you don't have to think that I do, but I can cite people that are experts that can show that.
Hell, you should have said, hey, here's a show, take some clips from it.
Yeah. All right, let's continue. I love the dichotomy here. The difference in the facial expression says it all.
Yeah.
That's why conservatives deserve absolutely zero sympathy for anything that happens as a result of their rhetoric. That's it. It's so easy. Like, it's so simple.
Okay, but I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about, but I would say this is the type of person that the internet has broke their brain, thus leaving them with very little empathy for their co-human. I mean, a good, decent father is now dead because of this. He's had his brains blown out because he was defending his wife and daughter. I would hope.
By the way, I'm not clapping. I'm not clapping about the person lost their life. I'm clapping that he's calling Destiny out because of that. I dropped my mic. Got excited.
Go back when he said "good father" and watch Destiny. Like, hit the J key twice.
Anything that happens as a result of their rhetoric. That's it. It's so easy. Like, it's so simple.
Okay, but I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about, but I would say this is the type of person that the internet has broke their brain, thus leaving them with very little empathy for their co-human. I mean, a good, decent father is now dead because of this. He's had his brains blown out because he was defending his wife and daughter. I would hope that you have a little empathy for that.
Yeah, he shows no empathy right there. His aversion. I think he's a sociopath if he has no empathy for a father who entropy. No entropy. No empathy for a father that lost his life. And even if the guy wasn't protecting his wife and daughter, he still was a firefighter. And even if he wasn't a firefighter, he still was an American. And even if he was an American, he still was a person.
He was a 50-year-old man. He just celebrated his birthday.
I mean, it's so disgusting, and there was a lot of people calling Destiny out, but I'm telling you, there was people that were actually signing with him, and I'm like, you people are inhuman, and this is what I loved when he calls them inhuman, because I'm like, you people are not normal people to think this,
Well, let me jump in there because we have a clip of what Destiny.
By the way, Jared, you're more than welcome to come in. The link is at the top there. Come on in.
Destiny has said about that very thing. Let's listen to this.
Fuck it. Fuck the dude. The firefighter guy. Fuck Trump. Fuck the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay? Just in case you're confused or it seems like I'm, whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am.
Who does this? Who? I mean, look, there's people in my audience that I'm not fans with. But if they were at a Trump rally and they got shot, I would not be celebrating. I'm not saying. I'm not saying there's people. If they died tomorrow, I wouldn't care. That's okay. I'm a human, but I would not want anybody to go to a political rally and be killed for a particular, political assassination attempt. That's not democracy. That is the antithesis of democracy.
What he just said basically defines as everybody on the extremes. So everybody got got mad at Kyle Rittenhouse for defending himself when being attacked, when being pursued by people who wanted to harm him. Everybody that had a problem with everybody that went to January 6th. Everybody who thinks that 7 people who weren't even at Jan 6 when they died because of Jan 6. Everybody that is part of this, as soon as you say Trump derangement syndrome kicks in. Everybody with this mindset exists on the far side of the political chain, where the Democrats are saying, you need to believe us because these are bad people that don't believe us. And on the other side, you get the same thing, where Republicans are saying, you have to believe us because everybody on the other side doesn't believe us. Meanwhile, there's a few people like you, me, and anybody else that has a functioning brainstem that hears all this crap and says, well, no, remember, we're the bad guys just for listening to the context.
Yeah, real quick, what'd you just send me, Jay?
Konstantin Kisin, I just happened to be scrolling through Twitter, shared what I quoted there. Truth is to cowards what light is to cockroaches. And pretty much talking about people like Destiny at that point.
I like it.
All right.
Am 100%.
I mean, I got to say, I just found that repulsive.
It is repulsive.
I wish that there is no room. There is no room for the hand wringing, and I will not participate in this anymore.
Oh, it's not hand wringing.
The hand wringing. No,
it
absolutely is.
No, it's just that you are positioning yourself.
So well.
No, but
Let me point this out. Let me point this out. Do you notice that Destiny's doing what he's doing when on his own channel and his own hangouts and his own spaces? He's trying to take over people like he always does, but that's not going to work with Piers Morgan. Why? Because it's his show and he knows how to handle it. It's not an effective strategy. It's not working for him. But do you notice he's trying?
Mm-hmm. He's totally trying.
Absolutely, he's trying.
Conservatives can say anything.
No, I'm not a conservative.
They can have any conspiracy theory.
I'm not a conservative.
They can have any plot. They can do anything, and then liberals are supposed to sit here and be like, "Oh my God, it's so tragic."
No, Destiny.
Absolutely not.
Let me explain.
Absolutely.
Let me explain my position because I'm not a conservative.
He's not.
I'm not on either side in your race, right? Here's what I think about what you did. You'd like to fire off, as you've done so far in this debate, about your fury at how disgusting Republicans are, how inhumane they are, how they never have any empathy, blah, 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 blah. And then you yourself actually are exactly the person that you're describing.
Pete, can you give us a ding ding? There we go, ding ding. I don't even have to tell you.
Yes. I was waiting for that.
You were already. I know you. I know you will.
Piers was 100%. You are what you are beholding.
100%.
As far as the humanity side of things, if there is a free flash game, I highly suggest people check out. You don't even have to be good at gaming to play it. It is we are what we behold, right? And what it is you are basically a photographer for a fake news site, and there's just people walking around, and you take pictures, and you just kind of put your mouse on the screen, you take a picture of something going on over here, and then something going on over here, and as you're taking pictures, things start looking a certain way.
That'd be fun.
I'm not going to reveal too much.
Wait, yeah. What's it called?
We are what we behold.
That might actually sound interesting, actually.
The funny thing about this game is everybody is differentiated by the shape of their head. So you have circle people and square people. And sometimes something good is happening to square people.
Check that out.
Sometimes something good's happening to circle people, and it's a very short flash game, but it really it has a moral lesson of how media and other influences on our life can influence our lives. Destiny, if you 1 in a million chance you're actually going to listen to this. Destiny, if you were harmed by a conservative or a right-winger, that's not the rest of us, man. That's not. We care. We care enough. Just come into this van here, put on this nice little jacket that lets you hug yourself, and we can work it out, man.
I think it's a little more base level than that.
Yeah, I was going to introduce you real quick, but hey, welcome AT2 Productions.
Hey.
No introduction required. Just go. What you got?
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. I get where you're coming from on the try to understand where Destiny's coming from, but there are some key things that we need to remember. One, this guy his entire online persona has always been flirting with being an edgelord.
True.
So I need the bell on that one.
True.
And with that, he's also in the last year, in couple of months, has caught such a ration of shit from so many people because he has been very open about his relationship status with his now ex-wife and how all that played out.
Oh yeah,
and
I know
how he quite literally played himself into it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't know if I want to dive into his personal stuff. I know all about his drug use. I know all about his wife. I know about his cucking. And, and I don't even give a shit, to be honest.
I bring it up for one reason. What we are seeing here, what we are seeing with this behavior and rhetoric from him is exactly that. He is broken. He is angry. Right. He is hateful. And it is all from the consequences of choices he has made.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And he now has gotten even more attention, which is a little bit of narcissistic fuel for him.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, Jared.
For.
I do think you're spot on. He's clearly a broken person, and the fact that he's willing to do this to an American, though. I cannot look past that, especially as, a veteran and other things. So, I mean, I don't think he's doing this specifically just for attention. I don't. And this is my personal opinion. I don't think he's doing it to be an edgelord. I think he's doing it because these are his actual views, and he just doesn't have a shred of human decency or empathy for anyone. He doesn't care. That's what I think is his real personage.
No, and I agree with that. I'm just trying to find the actual cause, not just the symptom.
Yeah. I think this would be fine. So what you're saying is, if it hadn't been him, having binges on ecstasy or whatever, his wife, leaving him for a man that they're, that were having like threesomes with or whatever it was. I mean, again, Destiny's sexual proclivities are his own. I don't judge. I don't kink shame. I don't care. But the fact that it was so public and so divisive that, he had to suffer through things, it would affect anyone mentally. And so if this had all happened last year, I don't know if he would be out there so, doubling and tripling down against an American hero. I can't say whether he would or wouldn't. So do you think that he would be? If all that shit had not happened to him recently, do you think he would still, like 2 years ago, been this, what you would call edgelord? I know he's always out there going, genocide.
I think he still would have tried.
Maybe.
But it wouldn't have hit as well.
Maybe. I think you're probably right on that. Let's listen.
You are inhuman. You are somebody who seems almost gleeful that a young firefighter with a family, with a wife and children, who he was protecting as he was shot dead, that he just
look at Destiny's smirk. Do you see that? It's barely noticeable, but there's a smirk there. I'm telling you, I know it's hard to see because the video is small on the outside, but I can see it clear. I can see it here. There is a notable little smirk here, and you can go to the original video. But there's a smirk there. Do you guys see it?
I totally see it.
Yeah, because you got the raised cheek, and people smile differently. Right? There's a fake smile and the real smile. They use different muscles. His smile right there, that's smirk. That's not faking. He seems to, and it even gets worse. I think I think that even gets worse in some point where he just completely loses it and just seems because I know what it was. I know what's coming up here when he's talking about being gleeful. Listen.
He deserved what was coming to him because he went to a President Trump rally, a man who was president of the United States until recently for 4 years and maybe again. You sound almost gleeful, Destin, and I'm sorry. That makes you, frankly, despicable.
I don't think I'm gleeful about anything. I don't.
Oh, okay. That is not the proper response. You don't.
No.
It's like, I don't think I'm gleeful. I could be. I may be, but I don't think I am. No, that's not the proper response. The response is, no, I'm absolutely not gleeful. It is a tragedy that an American hero died saving the life of his family. But no, Dustin doesn't do that. He goes, well, I don't think I'm gleeful. What the... Somebody say something because I'm getting a little agitated here. I'm going to say something that's going to get me kicked off YouTube here. I'm telling you.
I'll say this. Your pause game is amazing because I've been taking screenshots this entire stream.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to agree with you on that too. I think it has been pretty good. My pause games have been good this stream. But yeah, I'm just frustrated. Who says that? Well, I don't think I'm gleeful.
No, the type of person who says that is someone who is self-aware enough that they actually do recognize how they're coming off.
I don't care.
And they either don't care or they're trying to come off that way.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think he's very aware as to how he's coming off. That much I do agree with.
Okay.
I feel as though he's very aware, and so he's trying to diffuse the situation, but in his mind, he's diffusing the wrong part of the situation, and he's just making himself look bad. It's like when...
I don't think he cares about looking bad any longer. I mean, look, he still has a huge following. He lost, during this
interview with Piers Morgan of all people?
Yeah, I mean, look, he lost 4,000 people on YouTube.
This would be great for him. On publicity rise, being on a show with Piers Morgan, his numbers are going to go up as a content creator.
Look,
so
I can tell you right now, his numbers have gone up
as much as possible.
He dropped down 4,000 on YouTube and gained 4,000, 5,000 on Twitter. His Twitter is higher than it has been because people are probably hate watching, right? Now, and here's the thing, like I would never. I'm just going to tell you, I don't think I could ever go on a Piers Morgan show or anything like that. Not because anything Piers Morgan. I wouldn't want that type of pressure. I couldn't handle it. It's not my style. For him to go on there, I will give him props. But him going on there, it couldn't harm him because his audience doesn't care. They all agree with him. They agree with him on this. That's why he has a following. He has nothing to lose. You know, I would be afraid I would say something stupid in that big a platform, and I'm not. They don't care what I have to say. I'm a nobody on freaking YouTube. But Destiny, you know, I mean, he's been on the show before, so I mean, I've had big guests before. I could never get somebody like Piers Morgan, but I've gotten a Destiny before.
Guests.
You know,
like we're seeing a bunch of the disgusting rhetoric that Destiny's going on. Here's the thing: we see it. You're saying that his numbers are still high.
Yeah.
So
for now,
of the numbers that aren't idle, how many do you think are just in? And I hate to use a right-wing like regular word that they throw out there, but it's actually prevalent here.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those do you think are indoctrinated to believe everything that Destiny says?
I don't think it's how you think it is.
That's the effect. Well,
at least not the newer people.
That a lot of content creators get, where they're so big that they're infallible. That's how their mind ends up going. And I think Destiny is at that point.
I don't know.
I did definitely. I would err towards that on Destiny, at least his core audience, for one main reason. I wouldn't so much call it indoctrination, more conditioning, because you have a lot of people.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I go with more of that. That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, because you have a lot of people who have been watching him since their mid-teenage formative years. And those are the ones who, honestly, are the ones that are agreeing with him, who have been so anti-regular standard media and have gravitated to people like him. And it has become this huge tribalistic confirmation bias fuck show.
They like the entertainment value. They don't. I mean, a lot of like Destiny on philosophy. Who wants to listen to philosophy, right? I mean, probably nobody. You know, I mean, his core audience. You know, they're not going to know whether he's right or wrong. His core audience don't care. But I mean, imagine me.
After his performance on several Twitter Spaces, no.
Oh, the Twitter Spaces are different. Oh my God! I mean, we haven't got touched in that. We were there. We were listening in real time with the Twitter Spaces.
You were listening.
Holy
Every time I was in a space and Destiny showed up, I would send Steve a message saying,
"Yeah, you did," and I appreciate it. Please continue to do that. I cannot thank you enough for that. Seriously, bro.
Yeah.
It was a shit show and a half. I mean,
yeah, it was.
And we'll get into that after the thing here, because I do want to talk about what happened when he rage quit.
Definitely.
But can you imagine
that was glorious.
Can you imagine, like, for example, like, we got three vets in here, right? And Jared does a weekly veteran thing. We've all been on. All the vets have been on his channel for that. You know,
thank you guys for your service.
And thank you. We all have a camaraderie, and because being a vet is something that means something to us. Can you imagine me as a vet insulting the memory of an American hero on American soil? What I would expect the other veterans, the other people that put their lives on the line, on even like wartime, because I think both of you guys served during. Did you guys serve during war? I don't remember 9/11. Yeah, but I was in Desert Storm, Desert Shield. But the point being is that this was an American, and we all agreed to uphold and defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. This includes domestic terrorism. And so if I was supporting something like that, I would expect, veterans and other people to shit on me, like just tear me apart, Can you imagine what would happen if I did? I mean, God, my core audience would have put up with that. My core audience would be like, fuck you, Steve, as well as they should. But not his audience. Nope.
Yeah, it is.
So I got a better audience than Destiny.
I think conditioning is the proper wording for it.
You guys agree I got a better audience than Destiny? Because my audience wouldn't tolerate that shit.
Oh,
that's not a very high bar.
I didn't say the bar was high, man.
Okay, Steve, do you remember the South Park episode where James Cameron went to raise the bar and how low it was there? The bar for judging Destiny's audience is even lower than that ever was.
Yeah.
And like I said, what's so funny is I do have a dear friend that is friends with Destiny. Her name is Brittany Simon. You remember her? She's been on the show. Well,
I think I saw a live stream where you were you her guest?
Yeah, I've been on the show a few times. Yeah,
talking about agnosticism and possibly. Yes, I saw that one.
Here's the fun fact: she's a real life friend of mine. We used to live not like more than a couple miles from each other. We would go out for coffee all the time. So she is a personal and real life friend of mine. And I adore her. She's one of my favorite freaking people. Her and Christy Santiago, two amazing women. and she's a feminist, and we have had the most amazing discussions. I haven't even bothered to ask her what her opinion on Destiny is because she's probably reeling from this because she was close with Destiny at one time.
Probably.
But you know what? Maybe I'll reach out to her because I haven't talked to her in a few months. But yeah, I'll get her thoughts on it. But yeah, so we do have like I said, we do have a mutual friend because they talked all the time. But let's get through this because I do want to get to the Twitter space stuff.
I don't think anybody should die. I don't think anybody deserves to die. But
no, remember him saying that. Remember him saying that. Bullshit. I don't think there's anybody deserves to die. Remember that because I got a clip that says otherwise.
You want to talk about gleeful? Look at the conservative response to Pelosi's husband
my God.
when they broke in.
I can answer that.
Mainstream media figures
I can answer that.
I don't care.
I can answer that.
With all due respect, I don't care what your answer is.
Let me answer that.
The reality is that conservatives have been turning the temperature up on the rhetoric. They have been making fun of these types of events for years.
Like the left hasn't either. Both the sides have turned up the temperature.
Until I saw this clip that you sent to me, Steve, I have never in my life heard a single person call it turning the temperature up. I always hear them refer to the political climate and actually not bullshit somebody in saying how bad it is. Here, turning the temperature up, I'm sorry, maybe I like it hot outside. Maybe I like it cold outside.
I'm going to give a pass on it. I know what he means by it. I mean, it is affecting the political temperature.
But it's yet another way to change the rhetoric.
But both sides do this. I mean, look, and there were people calling that out, and that's what Piers Morgan points out. He was one of them.
When something happens to them, now they're looking for sympathy from the liberal side? Absolutely not. It's insane. It's unhinged that you can conduct yourself in such a manner and expect people to feel sorry when things happen.
So, real quick, something in the live chat said that Destiny admitted doing this for clout, and that might be true. But here's the thing: it is still his views. I still believe these are his honest opinions, and if he's not, then he's even more. You know what? It's just going to sound disgusting, and I'm probably going to lose my entire audience, but I'm going to say it. I would rather have Destiny actually believe these things than lie about them, because I think lying about it is almost even more morally egregious in some ways, just for clout.
I agree.
It's
totally
fucking disgusting.
It is.
You know, I mean, both are bad. Don't get me wrong, but.
You ain't losing viewers for saying that, man. That's just being real.
Dude, I lose viewers when I say I had coffee for them or something.
You bastard!
This channel's been through hell and back. Come on.
Why should anybody on the right listen to a word of your hectoring and lecturing about how they should behave? And by the way, for the record, the mockery of Nancy Pelosi's husband when he was attacked by an intruder with a hammer was also despicable.
Yes, it was.
Right? I can see despicable behavior on all sides, and I'm happy to call it out when I see it. You, however, want to present yourself as this great kind of standard bearer of decency.
What are you doing? I see your eyes going left and right. I see your arms twitching.
DMing people on Twitter and stuff like that.
What are you doing besides paying attention to Piers Morgan, the host of the show that you're on? That's blatant disrespect.
So I noticed that as well. He was doing a lot of typing when you had Dave Rubin and whatever her name was.
What's going on? People need to remember, and this is why you really have to think that admission that was said elsewhere that was referenced to is more than likely true than not, because what he's doing is he's interacting with his chat. Anytime Destiny is streaming or on some sort of live show anywhere else, he is streaming on his own channel, his own end.
Yes, and he wasn't when he was. I've noticed that especially in the Twitter Spaces, he was, engaging with his own live chat. And again, I don't really have a problem with that, but not when you go on somebody the size of Piers Morgan. Pay freaking attention. I mean, Piers Morgan is a huge media person, man. That's not the time to be engaging with your audience at all. That's just stupid. I don't even understand why somebody would do something like that. I mean, you need to be focused and in the moment because you're in front of millions of people here. Millions of people watch this video. 2.3 million people, not including how many people, millions on Twitter that probably watched it. That's a lot of friggin' people. Right?
Yeah.
Who sees outrageous behavior on the right time and again and is incensed by this disgusting, inhumane behavior. And yet time and again, since the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, you have displayed exactly the same kind of inhumane humane behavior. Fuck him about a fireman who is killed because he attends a rally of a guy he wants to vote for.
My issue with the MAGA kids is not that they are not empathetic. My issue is that they support a president that led an insurrection against the United States.
What the fuck does that got to do with anything?
Make me get a third beer.
Oh my god, I just lost Zebulon because I had coffee. I'm sorry, Zebulon. Come back. Zebulon's been around a long time. I'm sorry. But I know it's instant coffee. I can get it. I understand. That's why he's out. I made instant tonight. Okay, Zeb.
Oh,
sorry.
instant coffee.
That's why.
I know.
I'm disappointed in you, Steve. You didn't bust out the percolator.
Even I have iced coffee, and I don't like coffee.
I like a percolator. I like a French press too, believe it or not.
Yeah, I was gonna say you need a French press.
I have a real nice coffee maker that it was got for me because when I did Reasons to Believe show for a year, the producer and all them chipped in and they got me a really nice coffee maker, and I have it today. And I love making coffee on it with Maxwell House or Folgers, but when I don't have time, instant. So today was just. Yeah. But anyways, look at his face, Destiny's face. It's just, I don't know, man.
I told you your pause game is amazing.
That is pretty good, man. That's the look of somebody who skins cats or something. I mean, he looks like he wants to wear your skin as a freaking like summer vest.
I'm not here to tone police over their empathy.
18 million people voted for Donald Trump last time round.
That's great. 80 million people voted for a guy that tried to insurrect the government, and it looks like they might try to do it again.
What does that got to do with anything? Look, again,
you didn't try to insurrect the government. You fuck.
Who cares?
So just a little bit. You've already referenced one of the Twitter spaces he was on. I love the fact check that was starting when he rage quit.
Oh, we'll get into that. Let's save that. Can we save that? Because we were all there. It was glorious. I even tagged her, and she actually started following me, Kat. Not Kat, but what was her name? Not Kat. She was on hosted, but the woman that asked her the question, I tagged her, and I was like, that was just freaking brilliant, super brilliant. But we'll get into that.
Like, I don't know what you want me to say. These are the facts on the ground. The idea that
you don't like attacks on democracy. So presumably you would unreservedly condemn the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, because that's one of the most egregious attacks on American democracy of modern times. Presumably,
I don't think that
you will take this opportunity, given you are so determined to protect the integrity of democracy, you would find it absolutely outrageous that someone has tried to assassinate a president, right?
If the other conservatives on this show want to say that it was absolutely outrageous that Donald Trump attempted to coup the government,
I'm asking you.
Then maybe I would. Yeah, no, I'm not going to get on my knees and beg for forgiveness or show sympathy to conservatives.
I'm not asking for that. I'm asking you to condemn what happened as an egregious attack on democracy. Can you do that?
No, I won't. No, I won't.
You can't do that. You see, so why the hell?
And that's it. And that's literally the point where I think that anybody that has a modicum of ethics and integrity realizes that Destiny is just a shitty freaking person. Because whether or not you agree, whatever would happen with January 6th was an assault on democracy. You know, I'm not happy what happened that day at all. I think that was an assault on democracy. But there is nothing that compares to an attempted political assassination, which is that is the height of egregiousness when it comes to fair and a fair political candidate running in for an office and democracy to vote for who we want as a political representative. There is nothing more vile than that. I think that's the worst possible thing that can happen. If you're going to talk about an assault on Americans, that somebody tried to assassinate a candidate, whether it be a political, a presidential candidate or any type of candidate, and Destiny will not say, "Oh, I denounce that." He's not. It would have been one thing for him to say, "Look, yeah, absolutely, I denounce political assassinations, and it's absolutely wrong." And then maybe go, well, what about January 6th? Okay, still whataboutism. But he didn't even do that.
Right. And he knows, because the second he does it, he loses a lot of numbers.
You think that's what it is? You think it's a numbers game to him, that his people will be going, "Oh, you
positive
caved.
It's a numbers game.
You caved. You gave ground." Because I'm so sick of these people caring about their numbers. They don't give ground.
Thing about Trump. Remember how I'm trying to convince you that Trump derangement syndrome is a thing, and I've nearly got you to the 100%
mark? You make some good arguments, man. I'm not going to front. I mean, but like I was just talking about Dr. Braxton Hunter, who's a Christian, right? I'm not a Christian, but we meet on mutual grounds, right? I mean, he can't. I love to reach out across the aisle. I want people that disagree with me, that I respect. I even told Braxton today, I was like, dude, the reason why I consider you a friend is because you treat me as such and you have honest opinions. And I respect that. Whether I agree with your opinions or not, they are your actual opinions. That is what I'm looking for as a good person on YouTube or anywhere else. And we've always got along. Because of that, I don't think Destiny has any serious core values. No, I could not get along with somebody like that.
He's the core values of what will get him numbers in at the end of the day. And as far as like if he would have demonized it like a good person, I agree with you. He would have probably gotten more numbers from the other side of the aisle than the numbers that he would have lost. That would have been the play. Maybe. But he's so what was the word that you used earlier, AT2?
Oh, which time?
Huh?
Oh, which time? Concerning the audience? Conditioning?
Conditioning. That one. Yeah, that's the one. He's so conditioned to know what he has to do in order to keep his audience that he's not going to admit to something like that.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. All right, let's see if we can push through this so we can get through this because it's starting to get hot here. We're almost done.
Frankly, Destiny, why the hell should we listen to a word you have to say?
Wait, hold on. Why do you think conservatives haven't been listening to a word that liberals have said about anything for 8 years?
Right,
what do you think is going to change?
They?
You think that if liberals come out now and they go, "Oh my God, this was so horrible," you think they're going to go, "Wow, that is true"? Maybe that should also
Charlie, I'll bring you in at the end of this. I promise you, and you'll get a good chance to respond. But here's my problem, Destiny, with your whole position on this, right? Is that you don't actually have anything inside you that you want the other side to have. You don't have any of the empathy. You don't have any sympathy. You don't care that someone tried to assassinate Donald Trump. You don't care that a young fireman with a family was killed in the process. You don't actually. You are not the person you want these other people to be. And all you do is play whataboutery with every question I give you.
100%.
And I'm just startled.
It's not whataboutery. We're talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about the temperature of this country. But here's a question for the two panelists: what percentage of this event happening was due to Donald Trump's rhetoric? What do they think the answer to that question is?
What percentage could it be that the other side, as we've just heard from Dave Rubin, has spent 8 years calling Donald Trump the new Adolf Hitler?
Right, exactly. And I just got a discussion with a friend of mine today on that very thing. He's like, well, they're like, oh, well, he was like Hitler from the 30s. I'm like, okay, so let me ask you, do you think that the shooter was morally justified then? If you could go back in time and see Hitler back in the 30s, knowing that he was going to do in 1945, especially in the mind of an impressionable person, a youth in their 20s who is probably suffering some kind of mental health problem, because clearly anybody who did this has a mental problems. I mean, that just is by fiat. Don't you think that they're saying, hey, look, well, we're going to compare him to Hitler, not the Hitler of the 1940s, but the 1930s, that somebody goes, you know what, maybe we should stop him before he becomes the Hitler of the 1945, because that may have been, their mindset. That's why you don't use hyperbolic rhetoric like this. This is why I'm so sick of people going, oh, well, if you support this, you're Hitler, or if you support this, you're a bigot, or you support this, you're a homophobe or transphobe. And all people are doing are putting out their views because they have an opinion on something.
Yeah, because all that is ad hominem.
There really is one thing, though, that anytime they bring up that comparison between Trump and Hitler that I just laugh at, because the few times that I do decide to engage in that specific talking point, I point out one thing, and generally the people who are making the comparison start losing their shit on is when you look at the actual platforms and political stance that Hitler actually ran on and his actual domestic programs that he instituted, why aren't you saying the Democrats are just like Hitler? Because they're the same exact fucking programs.
Yeah, that is true. A lot of social programs.
I gotta get.
Yeah, a little liberal stuff. All right, let's push through this real quick because I do got one or two more clips, and then I wanted to talk about what AT2 was talking about as far as the rage quit, because that was glorious.
A person who was responsible for the murder of 12 million people, including 6 million Jewish people in a Holocaust. Last time I checked, Donald Trump hasn't murdered 12 million people. So much as you would like him to be the new Hitler, he's not. But again, to an impressionable young deranged mind who has easy...
I said the exact same thing like moments after this happened. Like literally, I'm not obviously Pierce didn't take anything from me, but Pierce was he saw the exact same thing that I and many others saw.
Access to guns that can be easily interpreted as an existential threat, said President Biden.
Right.
Somebody that needs to be put in the bullseye, said Biden.
Okay,
Only last week. And guess what? Guess what? Somebody then comes forward and tries to kill the existential threat.
And that's another thing. Biden should pick his words better than bullseye.
He should have.
Yeah, and he didn't apologize.
To be honest,
either.
do you really think the geriatric houseplant has a large dictionary in his head at this point?
I think he doesn't even know where he's at half the time. But anyways,
I don't think
you
so,
guys gotta get the gist of this. There's not much more of this. Do you guys want to see? You want to see like what he was saying a few years ago? There's not much more on this particular video about Destiny. But do you want to finish this off, or do you want to go to the next clip?
So let's finish that off real quick.
Okay.
Just
Correct.
till we get to the.
Who was engaged in more divisive rhetoric over the 8 years? If you had to guess, if you had to assign a rough percentage,
Again, you're playing whataboutery. Again, you're deflecting.
It's not whataboutery.
It is whataboutery.
Just
It
as Joe
absolutely
Biden
is.
did last night. Just as Joe Biden did with Lester Holt on NBC last night. Every time he was asked, "Have you done any soul searching about your own rhetoric, your own ill-advised use of language?" He deflected it back to attacks on Trump. And you're
Correct.
doing exactly the same thing with Republicans.
And I will do the exact same thing.
You say Republicans
you want Biden
you say
to
that they
disavow
are
a
lacking in.
Okay, he just said, I'm going to do the same thing that Biden and deflect, and he's still trying to talk over Morgan. Why?
Because it's the only thing he knows.
Yeah, that's his debate style. This is one of the reasons I don't like his debate style. This is why I've never debated Destiny. I could have very easily. I mean, like I said, he's been on the show. He knows me. But I never liked his type of style, and I'm very picky on certain things. Like, if I debate Jacqueline Glenn, she's not going to talk over me. That's just not her style. But she's also not going to know what the hell she's talking about either. You know?
Comment when Donald Trump was saying Second Amendment people could maybe do something about Hillary Clinton. Like, no, it's absolutely deranged. The double standard that's being asked here is insane. And you heard both of them say it earlier. How much did Donald Trump's rhetoric contribute to the current environment? Oh, not much at all. Like, no, yeah, I'm not going to say anything to these people. Of course not.
Wait.
You see, Destiny.
Hold up. So he asked it earlier. They gave a response that was a non-zero response, but that's not fucking enough for him.
Yeah, no, he wants like Ruben, and I think her name's Charlie. What is her name? I'm so sorry. But he wants them to fully condemn January 6th. And here's the thing: even if they did think January 6th was, a bad day for American politics, this is not the time and the place for this. I don't allow whataboutism or too quick fallacies to distract. Even if I do have a particular position, and even if I do say, oh, you know what, I would do this, I'm not going to do it because somebody has pushed me because of whataboutism. I refuse to. And I think both of them were smart not to take the bait. Even if they did want to condemn January 6th, don't take the bait when people start doing whataboutism. Keep them focused on the actual question, because that's their attempt. Their attempt is to deflect and to have you start talking about something that is unrelated so they don't have to answer the questions directly.
Well, you never want to interrupt your opposition when they're making a mistake.
Absolutely. And that's why Destiny...
You want them to keep speaking.
I think Elon Musk did that with Destiny. Because I do think Elon Musk went in, I do think he was on a fake account, and it was him. That's his voice. I'm sorry. It is him. I believe. Very sorry. Charlie Arnold. Yeah, Arnold. Okay, let's get through this.
You seem oddly unversed in any of the current events that have happened over the last couple of years. First off, politics is downstream from culture, right? And what has happened to our culture in the last 8 years? What has happened to our culture is that the mainstream media has lied about everything, always to the detriment of right-leaning people, whether it is the...
I don't think he's wrong on that. And I'm sorry, I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal either. I'm a libertarian or independent. But I do think the media has put out some bullshit, and I do think it's not just on the right but on the left too. But I do think they've been very biased.
Yeah,
they have been very biased, and they're very biased. Here's the thing: even when Bush was in office, I know there's probably not a lot of fans of Bush, but even when Bush was in office, there were media that were for Bush. Why? Because the office at the time was leaning that way. There are medias that will flip-flop no matter what you do. Donald Trump just is the guy that's easy to hate.
It sells. It does sell. I mean, there's so much. Here's the funniest thing. There's so many other things to go after Trump for. I mean, there really is, as far as like his lying, his ego, his business dealings, his legal cases, so many things that are up for discussions. They don't need to make it work. Like, for example, like the 34 counts. That probably should only been one count. I think they overdid that a little bit.
Yeah. The 34 counts was accurate. It was judging them as felonies that was the overreach. And here's my total stance on the political discussion at large for people to understand, and this really pisses people off too, is I don't support Biden. I don't support Trump. But you know what I don't have to do? I don't have to lie about either one to justify my position.
I agree, 100%. Yeah, exactly. And look, I live in California. It doesn't matter who I vote for. It won't make a difference. California is always going to be for the Democrats.
And this is why we needed to take the Nebraska and Maine model for the Electoral College, and then it makes the popular vote valid.
A little more valid rather than the Electoral College. Yeah, because California vote, who cares? You know they're always going to vote Democrat no matter what.
But 18-2, I'll drink to that.
Look at Destiny here compared to Dave Rubin. Jesus.
The Russia hoax or COVID or Brett Kavanaugh's a serial rapist or the Covington kids are racist or Jesse Smollett was hoaxed, was lynched, or whether it was very fine people on both sides. Every single lie always goes against right-leaning people. So they are slightly annoyed and distrustful of people like you and other people in mainstream media who lie about literally everything. So perhaps
literally everything, like biolabs and Nazis in Ukraine, or like mRNA vaccines that are causing 20% excess deaths. There it is. Yeah, or the fact that COVID lockdowns were going to go on forever, and it was just an authoritarian abuse of power. Or yeah, of course. Like, come on, dude. Conservatives are masters of misinformation, and it's happening right here.
All right, let me bring in Charlie. He's been waiting.
Yeah, let her say something. God damn. Let the woman speak for a change.
She has been, by all means,
been so quiet
face to be staring forward, but she has been so patient. Just letting, like, she understands. Like, we understand something down in Gulf City. Put the lady on the screen, and she understands that to a T.
Let the woman speak.
Very patiently, Charlie. Thank you for being so patient. Things have obviously got quite heated quite quickly.
And then we'll move on.
Let me give you your chance now to have your say after what you've been hearing from Destiny.
Yeah, well, first of all, Destiny represents to me a certain subsect of the left, I won't call it everybody, who likes to bully others into saying exactly what they want to hear.
Ding,
and if
ding.
they don't say it, then you all of a sudden are the problem. And they handle it exactly like he's been handling it on the show. It's like a child throwing a temper tantrum. You can't get a word in edgewise. They just kick and scream and yell until you ultimately say, I've had enough. Just say what you want to say and back down. And that's exactly what we see a lot of times from people on the left. And it infuriates me because just like we saw on Saturday with the near assassination of Donald Trump, which that is exactly what it was. It was an assassination attempt, yet we have, Dave, like you mentioned, all of the mainstream media putting out egregious headlines such as from CNN, Trump removed from stage by Secret Service after loud noises startles former president and crowd, which completely mistells what actually happened.
Accurate. Here it is.
Hang on. I have to say something here. CNN and Washington Post were the two big ones that could not or did not use the word assassination. They downplayed it. In the audience there, you know that both of them had correspondence. You know that this was happening real time, live on live TV. They knew
right away.
There was no, hey, we're just receiving reports here, and initial reports. It was live TV as was happening, and everybody else was reporting it. Oh, shots fired. President Trump shot. May have been shot. President Trump, whisked away due to, attempted assassination, whatever. But no, not CNN. Oh, one of them was like, President Trump slips and falls. Yeah, fell. Exactly. It was like it was post. I mean, that was planned. You got to remember when CNN and Washington Post, when they put something out, it is the person who wrote it, the editorial supervisors, the chief editor in chief. Nothing makes a headline like that when you have that kind of political history that's not going to be thoroughly vetted. That was purposeful. Ain't no way in my mind anybody's going to convince me that was not purposeful, and it was not just breaking news. They knew what was going on. They chose to downplay it. Why? That I do not know, and I welcome anybody to explain to me, why do you think it was they were downplaying it? To what end, when they knew what was really going on, why did they downplay it? What was the advantage for that? Because I don't have an explanation for that.
Well, if they had it had been Biden up there that got shot, they would have said attempted assassination right from the get-go.
They would have said attempted assassination by Trump supporters right off the get-go.
Yes, yeah, and the thing about the media, and that most people don't want to hear or don't care to follow up on, is that the media itself is just driven to downplay the stories that don't paint them in the best light.
Okay, but what was the advantage? Because they knew they would be wrong.
Hold on. Here's the thing: is nobody knew if the shooter was Republican or Democrat, what their political affiliation was at the time. So if they were to say that it was an attempted assassination on CNN, people would automatically assume that it would be a Democrat
that's
supporter.
To be fair, I heard commentary from people that, oh, you can tell it was a leftist because they missed.
Yes, and then
Jay, I think you're on point on this one, dude. You had a smart thought. I like that.
But see, and to extend that point, though, Steve, is that it wasn't just the media making these headlines as they were. Biden, Nancy Pelosi, the VP, Gavin Newsom, people were playing it down. They refused to use the words attempted assassination. Why? Because it would make their party look worse and the opponent look better.
Right. Yep, I think both of you guys are spot on that.
And here's another point about the media. Ruben brought it up about the Covington Catholic High School kids. When the story was initially released, the kids were racist. They were, bigots and all this other stuff. Wasn't until the video from the what are the Black Hebrew whatever.
Israelites.
Yeah, Israelites.
Yeah.
The video showed the opposite of the story.
Right.
That some of the news media retracted, others didn't. But when they were finally forced to retract, it was a buried update at the very bottom that nobody's going to go look at.
Yeah, well, that's what they do. They rather put some misinformation out and then retract it because they know people aren't going to listen to the retraction that much.
Exactly, and then rather than now, if the media true, and this is true of all sides of the media, if they want to actually reinvigorate their trust and get people to believe in them, they're going to have to print full-page retractions and everything.
That's what they used to do. That's what they used to do, especially when it came to political stuff. One of the CNN titled a video. Mel says Trump falls to the ground at rally. Oh my! And I remember that. I saw that, and I was like, I even posted on my Twitter line. I was like, are you freaking insane? This is a historical moment that will be talked about hundreds of years from now. They're going to talk about this very thing. It'll be like the Lincoln assassination, but the fact that how miraculously Trump survived the assassination attempt by
Teddy Roosevelt.
Do you remember the Babylon Bee article we went over?
Yes.
They weren't wrong. This shit was funny.
So what's worse is it really has made him into a even though he didn't get shot, he still was in a type of martyr. They made him out to be like a god. I had 3 friends that were ex-military that were on my ship, all talking on Facebook that and I'm not even joking. 3 of them thought that literally, this is not figuratively, literally, he had an angel watching out for him, and they were trying to determine which angel it was, Raphael, Gabriel, and I'm not even joking. And I'm like, and I never even knew that they were that religious. And I'm like, seriously, bro? Like, you really actually believe this?
So the angel was protecting Trump,
but not the firefighter.
The firefighter behind him.
Yeah, I brought that up. I do. I was like, wait a minute. What? And the response was, well, you would have to ask God. And this is one of my really good military friends. His response was, well, you'd have to ask God about that. I'm like, bro, seriously? But all right, let's get through this.
This is the conservative.
Oh, and I just gotta say, man, she is so spot on here. I mean, like somebody said, she's just spitting facts, man.
This is the game right now.
It is not accurate.
Right in front of us. It's live right now. You know, Fox News ran that same type of
first
headline,
of all,
right?
we are allowed in this country to ask questions. There was a lot of things that were very off on Saturday.
And other
from the way that the
Secret
Secret Service handled.
So, I love this.
Yeah.
We are allowed to ask. Come on, why would you ask questions?
Well, that's
don't ask questions. Just consume.
That goes back to the full circle when Morgan was saying, hey, look, there are some major inconsistencies here. There's some weird stuff going on. Sure, we need to investigate this because something is amiss here. And Cenk was like, oh, so you're saying this was planned? And he's like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like whenever someone on Destiny's side, on Cenk's side, have to say like, it's okay to ask questions. Can I ask questions about this? No.
And when you do, it's like, oh, you're conspiracy theorist. No, I'm just asking questions.
It's not okay to ask questions.
It was. I'm just this the. But then somebody will say, well, you're just asking questions, because people have used, sea lining and other things. I'm just asking questions as a troll. But there are legitimate reasons to ask questions. Charlie is exactly right on this. There are legitimate reasons to ask questions that everybody's been asking. The Secret Service will have to answer. The local law enforcement will have to answer. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be in congressional committees, in front of congressional committees, answering questions. I guarantee it. It will happen. All right, let's get through this.
This country, God bless, I guess. Yeah.
You can see.
Oh, hey, look at that Red Bull.
I guess.
See, there you go. He immediately resorts
to
here we go. Yes.
Here we go.
And that is exactly the childish demeanor that I'm speaking about. On Saturday, there were
I can't take it anymore. Anyways, that pretty much where the end of it is. All right, so let's go to this real quick because I want to show you guys this. Can you guys see this? This is I pinned this. So Destiny says, I'm ready for the effing great cleansing when we genocide conservatives in this country. Did not Destiny just go on Piers Morgan to say he thought nobody should be killed, yet at one time he was calling for a genocide of conservatives in this country? Now, again, I put in here that this was about 6, 7, 8 years ago, and I know that. Okay, and I did invite Ian Miles Chong to come on this episode, but it's 2 o'clock his time because he's in Rome or Bangladesh or something. I don't remember. He's not in Malaysia any longer. But I go way back with Ian. If you guys don't know, I've actually known the guy for a very, very, very long time. You guys know that? You guys follow him?
I didn't know that, but
so
I mean, Ian Armstrong is still a rather intellectual individual. I do respect his work.
I think I mean, look, I have nothing personal against the guy, but
things more than others, Steve.
He can troll like the best of them. Okay, that's just
he can.
Okay,
that's the work that I'm.
But we get along.
About.
We get along. He's been on my show before. And I did ask if he wanted to join us, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning his time, so I can understand why he wasn't able to make it. But let's listen to Destiny's own words, okay? Shall we?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm ready for the great cleansing.
Bulletproof.
Cleansing?
The cleansing.
What cleansing?
When we genocide conservatives in this country.
Are you gonna be on the streets with your Glock?
Maybe. I gotta go back to Nebraska and grab it.
Okay, so did you guys hear that?
Okay, first off, we need a Mar-a-Lago situation. Find out what his address is and secure that Glock.
I'm telling you, I was like, this guy needs to be on a watch list.
He does.
Are you sure he's not already?
I bet he is. I bet that he is. I mean, you saw when he was on Piers Morgan, he had a rifle in the background. You noticed that, right? When in the background, there's a rifle on his wall.
He had.
And again, I'm not against people owning firearms, right? But still, this guy, he literally has said that he's ready for a genocide, and that and again, I understand a lot of this would have been hyperbole, especially he's playing a shoot 'em up type of game, right? So if this was a standalone thing, nobody should care. You're playing a game like Go, what is it?
CS:GO.
CS:GO, fun game. I play it. I like those types of battleground games, okay? I mean, you're just talking shit with your friends. I get it. I don't even fault him for this. I really don't, okay? So let me make that very clear. I don't think him saying this, we're playing this type of game, should raise any eyebrows. It's just talking shit, okay? But I do now think that this is actually something that he actually believes because that's what he's putting out nowadays. This is the problem I'm having.
See, and Steve, I was about to say this. It's moments like that you actually need to pay attention because that's when the guard is down and the truth comes out.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, like I said, you have to take things holistically. If this was just a one-off thing, I wouldn't even bat my eye about it. Like somebody was saying, like Destiny had a tweet where he said, like, how old are you? And the person said like 10, whether they were kidding or not. And he's like, oh, you're 10, you got pics? Okay, dark humor. I'm not into it, but I get it, right? I mean, it's just whatever. Look, I have had if people, found some stuff that I had said people years ago in one of my 20s about dark humor, they'd be like, well, that's kind of sick, but it's dark humor. Okay. Dark humor is meant to process things that our minds don't want to apprehend as being real. So we have to find a way to cope with it. That's what dark humor is. I don't think for a second Destiny has those propensities. I don't. I think it was just an off-color joke, and I don't care when people make dark humor. But then recently he's talking about some very bizarre sexual stuff in great detail where I'm like, and I just said, look, I might be having some second thoughts, but still, that's all it is. This just raises questions.
Something about picking him up on a little tykes or something like that.
But people are like, oh, he was just kidding about that. I'm like, I get that. Look, I don't care about that. People have a right to joke, and I'm not into cancel culture. I don't care if you have dark humor, no matter how sick it is. Humor's humor. I understand that. But taken holistically, Destiny's got some fucking issues, man.
Understatement.
Yeah, right.
I have a picture we have to share before the end of the stream, just so you're aware.
Wasn't there one other thing? I thought, yeah, I don't know. I thought there's one other clip that I thought I had where but anyways, that's good enough for now. Okay, so what do you got for us?
For those of you that are looking for a job, let me get the...
that one, yeah. What job? Oh, the best job. Just the best job that the best people would ever want to go for.
A Trump advisor?
No.
Better.
I mean, I work at about 100 cents, so probably use a better job.
Yeah, I got to fix this real quick. So.
What?
What?
Wait, hold on. 16 people clicked the. I might have a chance, guys.
Stop it. Mid-senior level, though. I love that. Mid-senior level.
Notice who the tweet's from, though.
Here's the thing.
Babylon B. That's fucking hilarious.
The thing is, the presidential candidate, I can't actually be a presidential candidate. I was not born here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Naturalized citizen?
I am a naturalized citizen. So okay. my story, the Cliff Notes version of my story is at about 10 years old. Over an email, my stepfather proposed to my mother, moved me up to Ohio where he was serving at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And after a little while up there, his heart started to not really function too well. So we moved down to North Kakalaki. And through my mom studying the hardest that I've...
Where?
North Kakalaki.
Never heard of it? North Carolina.
No, I don't think I want
to. Jesus.
Fucking boomer.
Anyway, anyway, so through my mom studying as hard as possible to get her citizenship before I turned 18, she did it, and because she got her citizenship before I turned 18, I didn't have to study for the test. I got my citizenship through her, and I absolutely love her for it.
Cool. That's awesome, actually.
No, the reason why I asked specifically is because there's been a lot of confusion on what actually constitutes a natural-born citizen or not.
Well, a natural-born citizen is someone who was born within the borders of the United States of America, including Alaska and Hawaii.
Right.
Incorrect.
Or and Puerto, I think, any of the.
Would Puerto Rico?
You're all missing a condition, though.
What?
So, a friend of mine and my firstborn son are natural-born citizens, and neither one was born inside the United States.
So what territory?
One was born in Italy, one was born in Japan, to American national citizen mothers.
Oh, okay, got it from the parents.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a similar situation that happened to me. My stepfather was American, and my mother was luckily to test to be an American. So I guess legally, it would be a natural-born citizen.
And like somebody points out, that was a very old clip, and as a standalone, I wouldn't care, right? I mean, again, holistically, look, I will make this very clear. I'm not into cancel culture. I really detest when people go back and I had somebody do this the other day. They went back and looked at some tweets that I had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, whatever the hell it was, completely unrelated, and people are like, "Who gives a shit?" It's like you stalked Steve's freaking Twitter timeline to find something from 7 years ago that's completely underrated and had to do with atheism. It's like, really? That's just weird, man. It's just weird. And so I don't like going back and finding clips like this unless there's a reason for it. And in this particular case, you can't you cannot go on Piers Morgan and say, I don't ever advocate killing, but then, in that setting where he's just like, well.
But then have a history of
advocating for genocide. I mean, look, I've never joked about having a genocide. Again, I understand dark humor, and I'm not going to fault him for it, but I'm not going on Piers Morgan either, and I'm not telling my audience, we should have this or that, and then go on Piers Morgan and say, well, no, I don't really believe that, because I think Destiny kind of does. I think that if he could get away with it, he probably would. If he's so unempathetic to not have a shred of human decency for a hero, an American hero, firefighter that died protecting his family, then I don't know what he's capable of. That's my point. I don't know. It raises questions. Anybody else, I wouldn't care. If Jared or Jay or Steve or any of you guys here had made these kinds of comments during CS:GO and whatever, it wouldn't even faze me, because you're playing a battleground game. You talk shit. I get it, but I wouldn't expect a single one of you ever to denigrate the memory of an American hero or advocate for the usurping the American democratic process. That just wouldn't be something that any of you would do.
No. So the bit of clarification for where I exactly stand on that is, I will not outright refuse to criticize the choices someone made in their life just because circumstances outside of their control led to their untimely end. Because I can separate an event from the person. I can feel bad about an event happening to someone, but still think that person is a shit person for other reasons.
Of course.
And being able to have that differentiation is a skill that seems like more and more people are unable to
especially
actually
Destiny,
utilize.
He sure doesn't. But anyways, I got to wrap this up.
Yeah,
I'm sweating so hard because I had to turn off my AC. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me. This was great. You guys are just, I couldn't ask for 3 other people to join me on this that would have been more spot on. So thank you guys for that. Thank you, the audience.
Appreciate you inviting us.
I will be doing something, I think, this weekend, but I don't remember what. But anyways, like I said, Braxton Hunter's going to be talking about my thing tomorrow. You've got a space this weekend or something? Do you have a space, Steve? Are you doing a Twitter space?
No, but I am always doing the Twitter Spaces, the Silenced Banter, over on the TheSlienceOne X channel. This coming Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and 10:30 p.m. on Christmas Island, we will be covering Episode 8, but when we do it. And that is the title.
Yeah. Before we go, though, because I did promise, and I almost forgot, but I didn't. But Jared, before we go, will you explain to people Destiny's rage quit on the Twitter space when he was asked a question, and tell them what? Do you remember the question and what happened?
I honestly don't remember the question or what led to it. I just remember laughing hysterically that he rage quit. The overall thing, the overall circumstance that I came into listening to that space was you actually had a number of people trying to hold Destiny to a single solitary self-imposed standard.
Yes.
And because he was being held to a standard, he was losing his fucking shit.
Yeah, the question was this. There was 5,000-6,000 people listening in. Okay, it was a big space.
Mm-hmm.
The question was basically, do you denounce the shooter killing an American person? Do you not feel empathy for the person who died? You're saying that you're against all these things and that you don't want to raise the temperature, blah blah blah. But what about the person who died? Are you going to say anything about that? Are you going to take back the visceral comments you said about this person? Are you going to say, look, it's an atrocity. It is something that I'm paraphrasing here. That's not exactly what she said, but she was here holding his feet to the fire, saying, well, what about the American firefighter that died? And his response was basically to bitterly attack her personally, saying that she should be eating something along the lines of, you eat Tide Pods. I bet you eat Tide Pods. It had nothing to do with
it was something like this. I remember exactly the joke. He said, you know how you take an Oreo cookie and sometimes you'll just bite it and sometimes you'll just take the top off and you'll lick the white stuff on the inside. I'm wondering how you go about eating Tide Pods. Do you start with the purple stuff or do you just eat the whole thing at one time? That was a stupid. And he just went off.
And then he quit.
And
I was listening. I was going, I wanted him to answer that question. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
but nope, no answers to follow except that him later on doubling and tripling down. So that's where we're going to leave it. I don't know what else to say. I'm going to be paying attention, if Destiny continues. But I think he's kind of maybe toned down his rhetoric, hopefully. But it's something that nobody should forget, that the complete lack of empathy that he had for an American. I can't get over that. I just can't, and I don't think that people should. I just don't. I think that's unrecoverable to me. I mean, there's certain things are just. I'm more so morally egregious, and that's one of them. I have a high degree of respect for people that put their lives on the line, like firefighters and even officers, good officers, not the crappy ones. There is a distinction. And military people that are first responders and things of that nature. Because the three of us being military, no offense to Steve. Steve would have been a good military person. He would have.
Thank you.
He would have. We accept you as tangentially.
Hey, my stepfather, my stepfather served 20 years in the Navy, and I wish I could have followed his footsteps.
Yeah. And thank you for his service, and we hold that very dear. So if you guys want to check out some veteran stuff, go check out AT2 Productions channel, because I said he does Veterans Weekly. But I think that's to wrap it up. That's kind of all of positions. Is that if Destiny wasn't going after as visceral as he was against the person that died, I don't think much of us would, or many of us would be really coming down as hard on him. I mean, sure, his view on the assassination attempt itself with Trump is egregious enough, but there's just no getting past him insulting the memory of a hero. I can't do it.
Once you start attacking innocent victims, you've lost all credibility.
And that's what Piers Morgan said. That's what he basically said is like, why should anybody listen to you when you don't espouse the virtues that you expect from the other side?
I will share one cool thing. They had the service today for the firefighter that was shot, and they transported the casket on a fire truck, which is just fucking amazing.
Respect. All right, guys, I'm gonna drop the StreamYards, so you guys, because I got to wrap this up. I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Please leave comments. Let me know what you think. Please share the videos. Like, subscribe, join. Leave a super chat, comment, or a super thanks or something. By the way, I've still never made a dime on this particular channel for all the years I've done it. I'm still in the red, believe it or not. So, if you want to support the channel, I'll take what I can get at this point, because I've done this show for years and still never made a profit on it. What does that tell you? Oh, Steve does it for the views and likes. Okay, well, show me how, because I have not profited from this channel since its inception, since 2017, and that's a fact.
To be fair, Steve, there is a bit of a caveat to that.
Oh, there's a lot of caveats there, but just saying. But am I wrong? Am I wrong?
You are factually accurate that you have seen zero profit from this channel.
Factually accurate is the best type of accurate. I'm laughing at my own misfortune.
Oh,
you know what? Whatever. All right, guys. Thanks for watching the Non-Sequitur Show. We'll catch you later. And just be good to each other, people. Good night.